a construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Crosscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Crosscom.
Call Crosscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Crosscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Crosscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Crosscom.
Crosscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Crosscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high-quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Today will be partly sunny and pleasant with gusty winds that may move unsecured objects and decorations. The high will reach 62. Tonight will be clear and breezy with a low of 50. Tomorrow, expect partly sunny skies, breezy conditions, and pleasant weather with a high of 59. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Forever Remodeling. Stress-free and high-quality remodeling. View their stunning transformations online at the number 4everremodeling.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Vote for the crook. It's important. That's essentially the appeal that President Trump made yesterday on election eve, today being election day in New York and Virginia, in New Jersey. But specifically, New York mayor's race, President Trump finally deciding to weigh in on the race, saying, posting on Truth Social, if communist candidate Zohran Mamdani wins the election for mayor of New York City, it is highly unlikely that I will be contributing federal funds other than the very minimum as required to my beloved first home because of the fact that as a communist, this once great city has zero chance of success or even survival, which is sort of what he said in the 60 Minutes interview. It can only get worse with a communist at the helm, and I don't want to send, as president, good money after bad. It is my obligation to run the nation. It is my strong conviction that New York City will be a complete and total economic and social disaster should Mamdani win. I would much rather see a Democrat who has a record of success win than a communist with no experience and a record of complete and total failure. I don't think a record of success is on the table, but okay. Therefore, it is imperative. It is imperative to vote for Handsy Andy Cuomo. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Are you going to encourage your friends in New York City now to vote for Andy Cuomo that President Trump has weighed in? Or if you're listening in New York City, you know that Illinois diaspora grows with each passing day. Now are you going to hold your nose and vote for Cuomo? Whether you personally like Andrew Cuomo or not, you really have no choice. You must vote for him and hope he does a fantastic job. He is capable of it. Mamdani is not. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line and text line. Why would Trump weigh in at the 11th hour when it appears that the race is all but over? Well, maybe it's not. We'll get to that in a second. First, reactions from the two candidates to President Trump weighing in. First, Nipple Rings Gambino. Remember that one? Andy Cuomo.
We heard Donald Trump yesterday. He said if Mamdani wins, he's going to cut off funding to New York. He calls him a communist. He'll send the National Guard. We need a mayor who can stand up to Donald Trump who can get the funding that New York deserves, who can make sure the National Guard does not come to New York, because we don't need the National Guard, and I can stand up to Trump. Trump will go through Mamdani like a hot knife through butter, and we can't have that. Mamdani cannot handle Trump. That's clear. And the next mayor has to be able to handle Donald Trump.
Like a hot knife through butter. How clever. Are you the one who came up with that? Painful. Mamdani, on the other hand, I mean, since Cuomo embraced the endorsement only to, of course, say it's indicative that I can work with Trump even though I reject his endorsement and I reject his policy choices, but I can work with him to get stuff for New York while I'm rejecting him because somehow, I don't know, he really never filled in those blanks. But the logic is challenged here. Mamdani, on the other hand, sees the opportunity to say what? There's evidence that what I've told you all along is in fact the case, that Andy Cuomo is Trump's candidate in this race. And who do you think that benefits in New York City? Which makes Trump wading in here all the more curious.
We know and have known for months that Donald Trump would favor Andrew Cuomo as the mayor. They share the same donors. They share the same small vision. They share the same sense of impunity. And yet in these final days, what was rumored, what was feared has become naked and unabashed. The MAGA movement's embrace of Andrew Cuomo is reflective of Donald Trump's understanding that this would be the best mayor for him. Not the best mayor for New York City, not the best mayor for New Yorkers, but the best mayor for Donald Trump as his administration.
So, right, everybody playing to type there. The messaging on this is obvious, given Trump's standing among 4/5 of the New York City electorate, which is basically out of their minds. But so why would Trump weigh in at this point? If he really wanted to put his imprint on the race and try to beat Sliwa voters over to Cuomo, wouldn't he have done it earlier? Well, maybe he was waiting to see if this thing was even possible. Mark Penn, the pollster, his Atlas Intel polls, this is his summary yesterday on election eve. This race has tightened so Cuomo is for the first time within striking distance. He has the momentum. The polls show women supporting Cuomo and men supporting Mamdani. Socialism seems to be fancied by the most educated, while the kitchen table offerings of Cuomo favored by those with less education, which, of course, represents the majority. A lot of people are unhappy with the city economy, but expect it to get better. Voters want a mayor who stays out of the Israel-Hamas conflict, indicating they want a mayor who will tend to the city and their problems and do not want an anti-Israel mayor. Most importantly, the election will be decided by the Republican voters. They like Sliwa, and if 24% stick with him, that will give Mamdani an edge. And if a third of them defect to Cuomo, Cuomo will win. The left did not offer ranked choice voting in the general election, so moderate and conservative voters could not get a second choice. The two-way race in the poll shows Cuomo way ahead. So the trick is to enfranchise the left in the primary and disenfranchise the moderates by draining their votes off. That strategy is paying off for them at present. Well, I mean, not that I'm a fan of ranked choice voting, because I'm not. And not that I'm a fan of doing the rehab work for the Democrat Party, which I'm also not. But the polling that Mark Penn suggests is interesting. I don't know. I think Mark Penn is a good pollster. I'm surprised that he believes those things. But if that's what the numbers tell him, that's what the numbers tell him. He knows how to read numbers. So it's possible. I just think it's very difficult when you have somebody become the it girl of the cultural institutions dominated by the left, starting with the media. It's very tough to defeat that in a race where 80% of the electorate is left or neo-Marxist. And when the alternative is somebody that you're just defaulting to. There's no excitement there. There's very little belief there. There's very little likability there. The complete value proposition of Andy Cuomo from beginning to end is he's not Zoran Mamdani or Zoltar Rob Zombie, as Shane Gillis called him in that SNL skit over the weekend. Pretty good. Some other interesting data points. 7% of high earners making over $250 said they would flee New York if Mamdani is elected. 12% of New Yorkers between 50 to 64 said they would certainly flee. Even as Mamdani and the Poly market odds has about a 91% chance as going into today of winning the race. So that's why that Penn polling is interesting, not dispositive of the issue. But it doesn't change my view. As I keep saying, and we talked about it a little bit yesterday at the end of the show with Carol Markowitz, tell me what the difference is. We can't have a socialist for mayor. Well, you're going to. It's either going to be Mamdani or Cuomo, but it's going to be a socialist. Oh, Cuomo's not a socialist? Why? Because he's more transactional? He is a central planning, redistribution, pro-rent control, government-centric political hack. So rather than sort of being ideological, he's more of a mechanic. And that gets you to what different place exactly? Because Andy Cuomo doesn't run around saying, I want to globalize the intifada. He's not a socialist. Because the pace is slightly different. That's the entire party. That's their entire party. So all of this socialist versus a non-socialist, that's just not true. John Fetterman saying on Waters the other day, socialism isn't the future of the party, or I don't want it to be, or something. Too late. I hate to break it to you. That die is cast, at least at present. So, I'm not sure if Trump is relying on Penn's numbers and maybe he thinks it can move just to help move enough Republicans off Sliwa to get Cuomo across the finish line and be, hailed as somebody who sort of saved New York from Mamdani and increased his standing at least among non-Mamdani voters in New York City. I don't know. It seems like a very whimsical play to me, especially this late in the game. George in Naperville.
Yes, I think Trump weighed in because he loves our country and he has a soft spot for New York, and he probably wants to push Cuomo around a little bit and get back at him for all the, goofing around he did during COVID.
Thanks for the call, George. Yeah, I'm sure that's true. He has a soft spot for New York, and he loves the country. I agree that that's the case. And he thinks that this is the least worst option for New York. But, yeah. I don't know that I'd even spend 11th hour capital on this one. Because I don't know if I could bring myself to try to recast Andy Cuomo as something that is even digestible. Even in this circumstance is digestible. Because he really isn't. Coming up at 5:38, speaking of indigestible, or someone who induces indigestion, as I have no doubt suffers from it, Governor Jelly Belly responds to criticism of the comments that were unearthed that we talked about a bit yesterday. His comments before the Illinois Federation of Teachers, the state's teachers, where he had some choice words for the president and his allies. That's 5:38. Now we check the headlines.
Good morning. It is 43 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560, The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the AM 560 newsroom. The federal government shutdown has persisted for more than a month now, and federal funding for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, also known as SNAP, has run dry. Massachusetts Democratic Governor Maura Healey was on CBS's Face the Nation, joining the legal pushback against the Trump administration.
I was at food pantries yesterday. People across our state do not want to see see people go hungry.
And Chicago police are asking for the public's help in identifying a man that they believe is responsible for a string of robberies that are targeting area pharmacies. According to the Chicago Police Department, that suspect has jumped over the counter of at least 7 North End pharmacies over the past several weeks and stolen narcotics. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Belmont area detectives. This report is sponsored by Blindster.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. But
Scott Jennings explains the impact of the shutdown.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said that he is opposing a Senate Republican bill to extend pay to the troops and to some federal workers during the shutdown, all to appease a radical left-wing base. It is pathetic political theater.
The Scott Jennings Show. Weekdays at 1, right before Hugh Hewitt at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
If your cash is sitting in a savings account, it's at risk. Old school advice says save more, but today the strategy is broken. When inflation spikes, they print money or cut rates, your dollar shrinks. So do your savings. The solution? Own something real. Physical gold and silver. When the dollar drops, gold and silver prices rise. And with Noble Gold, owning gold is simple. Just visit NobleGoldInvestments.com and chat with a specialist. The knowledge is free. The protection is priceless. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult your financial advisor before making investment decisions.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Anthony and John here from Bionic Auto Parts, proud clients of Signature Bank. We deliver high-quality, recycled, and remanufactured auto parts to Chicago and Milwaukee. Our mission is simple: provide parts safely, reliably, with great customer satisfaction.
We process over 350 vehicles a month. With big banks, everything took forever. Layers of approvals and endless delays. At Signature Bank, one call got it done. Whether it's lending, deposits, or treasury management, they deliver fast. Signature Bank made us feel like family. That's a partnership we deeply appreciate.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This is Jerry Boyer for Townhall.com. The tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk has sparked a wave of engagement from conservative shareholders of MasterCard, Alphabet, PayPal, Salesforce, Meta, Amazon, Texas Instruments, Starbucks, and others. Kirk's organization, Turning Point USA, has been listed on the Southern Poverty Law Center's hate map, and the SPLC's rhetoric has now been linked to multiple acts of violence. Conservative investors are pushing back. The Heritage Foundation and portfolio manager David Bunsen are leading these proposals, demanding that these companies stop using SPLC data to guide policy. The message is clear. The vague and politicized narrative is bad business. If you own stock in or use these companies, speak up. Vote your shares. The SPLC doesn't speak for corporate America or its shareholders. Political neutrality isn't just fair, it's smart business. I'm Jerry Boyer.
This is Alistair Begg, inviting you to sail with me next September 5th through the 12th, 2026, on the Deeper Faith Norwegian Fjords cruise. If you've never been to this picturesque part of the world, the sights are magnificent, and the glacier-carved cliffs demonstrate the grandeur of God's creative handiwork. Throughout the journey, I'll be teaching from the Bible. Together we'll learn from the Scriptures, enjoy a week of fellowship and worship, and stop at several ports where we'll stroll through quaint Nordic villages. This is an opportunity to explore scenes you won't soon forget, all while forming new friendships with fellow believers from around the world. Cabins are limited, so call today at 855-565-5519 or visit deeperfaithcruise.com. 855-565-5519 or visit deeperfaithcruise.com. I hope to see you on board.
Book today at 560theanswer.com/deeperfaith.
You need to be tuning into the Retirement Success Blueprint with Michael Stewart, the radio companion to the Amazon best-selling book, Success Blueprint, How to Build the Retirement You Deserve. Each week, Michael shares strategies designed to help reduce market risk through income-generating investments that can provide steady returns. Because if you can avoid a big loss, you don't need to take big risks. Catch the Retirement Success Blueprint with Michael Stewart, Saturday mornings at 10, right here on AM 560 The Answer.
Protect your liver and give it the support it deserves with Active Liver from New Nordic. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or at newnordicusa.com.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Today will be partly sunny and pleasant with a high of 62. Expect gusty winds that may move unsecured objects and decorations. Tonight will be clear and breezy with a low of 50. Tomorrow brings partly sunny skies, breezy conditions, and pleasant weather with a high of 59. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. One footnote on the mayor's race today in New York City, and I don't want to forget Mogadishu, Minnesota, too. Interesting parallel. Ilhan Omar, Brotherly Love Spice of the Socialist Spice Girls, you know her. She was campaigning for her candidate in that race, Omar Fateh, running against Jacob Fry, Mogadishu, Minnesota. Listen to Omar campaigning for Fateh to give you a sense of what the constituency is like in Minneapolis.
Ilhan! 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 Ilhan!
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. aad iyo aad aan ugu faraxsanahay caawa in xafladan oo dhammaan dadka iskugu wada yimideen aad iyo aad aan ugu faraxsanahay in maxaa la dhahaa ii sheeg Cumar Faatax aan u taageero inuu noo noqdo duqa magaalada Minneapolis.
Yeah, Minneapolis, as I was saying. Remember when Minneapolis was an American city? By the way, New York, similar dynamic. Linda Sarsour, this grotesque Palestinian-American professional agitator, terrorist sympathizer. You may remember her from women's marches like in 2017. This was her at that time. Outside the Trump Tower in New York.
So today we're here for an iftar, which means break of fast during the holy month of Ramadan. We are here in front of the Trump Tower, which is just really a symbol of the kind of policies and the divisiveness and the hatred that we have seen come out of this administration that has really led to divisiveness of our communities or to divide our communities. And here we're showing this is what New York City looks like. People, black people, brown people, progressive Jews and progressive white allies who have come here to say, we will break bread with you, we will stand in solidarity, we will embrace you, and we will stand with you against hate and divisiveness. So I'm so dishonored and humbled to be in spaces with people who have shown up for us time and time and time again.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is Linda Sarsour. She hasn't gone anywhere. This is Linda Sarsour talking to a friendly audience about the story that she's going to tell after today when Zohran Mamdani expectedly wins the New York mayor's race. She's going to tell a story about who funded him and how it all happened, because she has long been an ally of Mamdani, somebody that helped to shepherd him into politics and elective office, and now on the precipice of being the mayor of New York City.
Right now, I'm a little more quiet because I'm on the quiet side of this race, but I'm going to tell you that once November 4th comes around, I will tell the story. The story is not just, that it's random that Zohran ascended to this place. It is our Muslim American communities. And I'll also say that it's Muslim money. The PACs that have supported Zohran, or a particular PAC that has supported Zohran, is probably over 80% of Muslim American donors in this country. High net donors, grassroots donors. And I want to make the point that the Unity and Justice Fund PAC, which is the CARE Super PAC, was the largest institutional donor to the pro-Zohran PAC in New York.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that story. Please do tell. No need to be quiet, Linda. We prefer when you speak in your normal tones, which is to shriek. But yeah, no, I'm excited to hear all the details. I'm glad you said Muslim American too, but that may, if there's evidence to support it, that may warrant a little bit more of a dive into the campaign financing of Zoran Mamdani and some of the PACs that supported him, including anything associated with CARE, Council on American Islamic Relations, of course. So, yeah, we're going to get the story after the fact, as we normally do when somebody is the it girl, as I said, for the Eastern Seaboard media. They don't show the warts for their it girl. You only get to see those warts after the it girl has been installed. The examples of this are legion, of course. Turning our attention to, oh, by the way, this just came over the transom. Talk about it maybe in a little bit, but apparently it's being reported that Vice President Cheney has passed away, that he passed away last night at the age of 84 due to complications of pneumonia and cardiac and vascular disease. That's according to a statement from his family that is now being reported. So the nation's 46th Vice President, Dick Cheney, is dead at the age of 84. Take your remembrances of him, too. A complicated legacy, to be sure. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. But sticking on course for now and talking about those aspirants to challenge whoever succeeds President Trump in 2028, Newsom and Pritzker. Let's start with Pritzker. And by the way, I'm not in Bannon's camp, so I don't believe that Trump is going to be on the ballot and win a third term in 2028, and whatever cockamamie scheme that Bannon has cooked up in his mind, I'm not a subscriber to. So I'm just setting that aside in case anybody was wondering. So Jelly Belly spoke to the Illinois Federation of Teachers. It's an exciting time for them as they've now consolidated with CTU under the dutiful stewardship of Stacey Davis Gates. She has done such a great job at the Chicago Teachers Union and for Chicago school kids, obviously. They're our kids. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. They take care of them. They take care of them all right. Stacey Davis Gates, now the face of Illinois teachers. Stacey Davis Gates, that is who represents every member of the Illinois Federation of Teachers. I want that to really sink in. So when you go to one of the Glenbrook schools, or you go to Hinsdale Central, or you go to one of the Glenbard schools, or you go to Barrington High School, which gave us Michelle Wu, or you go to one of the Naperville schools, North, Central, I just want you to remember that those are people that are aligned with Stacey Davis Gates running those schools. Oh, and I know there'll be some that protest. But they didn't protest much when it was happening. What did they? Stacey Davis Gates, the quintessential Illinois educator. Okay. So J.B. Pritzker at the Illinois Federation of Teachers, I got a little exercised, something you normally don't associate with J.B. Pritzker. And we're to believe that his foray into the profane, that toilet boy exhibiting a potty mouth, was in the moment. He just couldn't contain himself because he's so upset. He's just so upset at what Trump is doing to K through 12 education in this country.
They want to criminalize educators for supporting LGBTQ students. They want to turn classrooms into cultural war battlegrounds. And I'm sorry to be vulgar, but Donald Trump and his cronies can all the way off.
Woo! There are all those teachers. There are all those Stacey Davis Gates acolytes cheering wildly. And the crowd goes crazy. President Trump and his allies can F all the way off. Well, Toilet Boy was asked about his potty mouth yesterday, and he said this.
It was a feeling I had in that moment, and frankly, I think all the limits are off with Donald Trump as president in terms of what our reactions are to what he has to say. He uses that word.
If he ran off a cliff, would you run off a cliff, J.B. Pritzker? Is that what we teach the kids? I thought he was destroyer of norms. But more to the point, the idea that that was spontaneous is comical. If you believe that, then I've got a Gold Coast mansion without any toilets in it to sell you. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. And as we talked a little bit with Carol Markowitz at the end of the show yesterday, the idea that Trump has instigated some sort of cultural confrontation in the government schools, dominated by the Stacey Davis Gateses of the world, have the run of the place. Most without any opposition to anything they do. And yet, what's the regime in Illinois? Mental health screenings now. Mandatory mental health screenings. Trans and kids. Including promotion of taking drugs, mutilation of minors. Abortion on demand, pornography in libraries and the core curriculum in classrooms at elementary schools, quote-unquote media literacy mandate, which just means outlets that have a shared point of view and no other point of view shall be allowed. Reading, math, ACT scores all on the decline. Correspondingly, of course. And that's, I'm sorry, Trump did that to Illinois? Is that what happened? Sarah Schulte giving a little editorializing after JB's, I just was so worked up in the moment.
Even though he was reading from a speech, Pritzker said the word is the first thing that came to his mind because he was so upset about what he calls Trump's abuse of public education students.
Trump's abusing public education students. I see. Jeff on the Northwest side.
Hey, Dan. Joe Biden, he's been known to throw the F-bombs too. They just say what's in there in the moment all the time, right?
They say what's in the moment all the time that's on the teleprompter or on a piece of paper in front of them. That's what they say. Yeah. Thanks for the call, Jeff. The idea that Pritzker, excuse the profanity. He was just welling up. Excuse the vulgarity. I'm going to try and contain it, but I just can't. They can just F all the way off. As opposed to this Nepo baby trying to impress Stacey Davis Gates and these other ravenous apparatchiks in the audience that he can operate street level too. He's not just a big fat dandy, That's what that was. Please. I love the general Chicago realism, even borderline cynicism, that somehow is suspended by so many for a hack. A pathetic, vacuous vessel like J.B. Pritzker. You think he does anything that isn't contrived? You think there's anything that is authentic about that guy? He's got competition, though. It should be a real race to the bottom with Governor Patrick Bateman and JB if JB makes the 28 race. I don't think that's a done deal yet. Patrick Bateman was all over the place, Governor Patrick Bateman there in California. And I didn't even get any credit for this reference that Jonathan Karl made when they had a very chummy podcast.
What do you make of all the Patrick Bateman talk?
I don't know, but
I mean, people say that you are like
You
American
serious?
Psycho. Yeah.
Jesus, yeah. Like I said, new scum. I mean, look.
But even your friends like say this.
Oh, do they?
I mean, yeah,
I'm going to
What
reevaluate
friends?
my guest list.
I mean, there was a comedian that said a literal comic book villain from Central Casting, Patrick Bateman vibes. He definitely had someone killed or may have killed someone himself. I think he meant that in a.
I'm glad I still have some humor left. I mean, this is a rough business.
Yeah, it is.
This is a rough, particularly if you're willing to fight. And I just hope we have more fighters. And I want to say this seriously. I have no problem being, out there with the arrows in my back, as long as it gives some space for people to run over me and move forward. I'm serious about that. I really am scared to death about what's going on in this country. I really believe it is code red. It's five-alarm fire. It's breaking every hour of every day. This is a serious and sober moment. And so we're talking about 2028 or something like that. I appreciate what you said in terms of, oh God, here we are, politician. I'm just focusing on a day. But I'll tell you what, we won't have a country. We won't have an election that's fair and free if we don't stand up. We won't. There will not be a fair and free election. It will be a Putin election. Was it 87% or is it 87.3%? That's what Trump...
He's got to compete with Jelly Belly when it comes to conspiracy theories about the next year's election, too. Well, I guess he's talking about 28, but both 26 and 28. I mean, why leave out 26 and just skip ahead to 28? It's probably even more dangerous in 26 because Trump's, in the White House with 2 years of runtime. Yeah. The best part, though, for me, in addition to, the hair on fire moment for a guy whose hair is quite flammable, is, look, I'm happy to take arrows in the back if people can, run over my carcass and still advance our flag. He's happy to be cannon fodder. I mean, he's a field general, that Gavin Newsom. Again, he's not just a face guy for the radical left with his aw shucks and his bull jive outreaching to conservatives on his podcast and all of this silliness he runs around saying. He's not just a face guy. No. He's a trench guy, just like Jelly Belly. Couple of trench guys willing to slug it out in the street. Don't take them for windblown dandies. No. And then this astounding statement. But really, can anything these two stay astound?
Nothing I dislike more than the politician that sits there and lies to you. And we all just sit there rolling our eyes going, give me a break.
Yeah. Sorry, I was rolling my eyes thinking, give me a break. Chris in Rogers Park.
I have a liberal conspiracy theory about what's going on with JB and actually Zoran. I think it's kind of the same thing. They're both wealthy people. They've got all they need from a wealth perspective, so they're just fighting for status. They're fighting for, look at me, recognition. I mean, JB comes from a family. How can he outdo the family that he's in? He's got to do something bigger. The problem is, for all his demagoguing out there, he's getting normal people in Chicago in confrontations with ICE, and people are getting hurt. So you need to think about that.
If he cared about such things. Thanks for the call. The people who pretend, these two guys pretending, I mean, everything about their life is make-believe. Including pretending to be at street level, engaged in the give and take. They're happy to be cannon fodder, in service of the larger mission. They're the guy you want in the foxhole who's got your back, right? Anybody believe that? So the people getting hurt on the streets because they're instigating violence, you think they care? Those people are mascots. Those people are the actual cannon fodder. They just don't appreciate it. Miro, Northwest Side.
Thank you. When I hear a Democrat like the Springfield slob use profanity, it sounds phony and it sounds vulgar. And I use profanity myself. When I hear a Republican like Trump use profanity, any Republican just about, I either laugh or it sounds like a regular guy, genuine. And before I hang up, thank you. We appreciate you, Professor Proft. Goodbye.
Thanks, Miro. Appreciate it. No, right. Trump sounds like a guy who's been on a job site talking to construction workers. J.B. Pritzker's a guy that shows up to Jackson Hole, puts a cowboy hat on, and says he's a cowboy. That's the difference. As if it isn't obvious to anyone who wants to give it a fair reading. I mean, text from 708, yes, we were just reported about 10 minutes ago, but we'll pick it up on the other side at 6 o'clock. Dick Cheney, former Vice President Dick Cheney, is dead at the age of 84. That's per statement released from his family. We'll take calls on the former Vice President's passing. And then also get into the topic that we were unable to discuss yesterday. We had some technical difficulties with a couple of important clips to frame the discussion. But the so-called anti-Semitism on the right, the battle between people like Tucker and people like Ben Shapiro and many others. That's at 6:06. We'll start there. It is now 6 o'clock on AM 560 WIND Chicago.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Kathleen Maloney. Former Vice President Dick Cheney died last night. He was 84.
American politics has always been a tough business. Even in 1787, here in Philadelphia, when George Washington himself wondered if delegates could ever agree on a constitution. They did agree, as Americans always have when it mattered most.
Cheney in August of 2000 when he accepted the vice presidential nomination. Cheney died of complications of pneumonia as well as cardiac and vascular disease. Today's the first major election day since President Trump returned to the White House, and the race in New Jersey for governor is being closely watched.
This race also having national implications, with many Democrats wanting this to be a referendum on the Trump administration. Democrats are running Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill as their nominee against Republican former Assemblyman Jack Ciattarelli. While the Republicans insist Trump is not on voters' minds, Democrats believe Washington's moves very much impact the Garden State. The president has not held any in-person rallies in New Jersey, but overnight Trump hosted a telephone rally for the GOP ticket, urging his supporters to show up at the polls today. For her part, Sherrill has embraced the Democratic establishment. She's campaigned with leaders on the left, including former President Obama.
Fox's Mark Meredith. Virginia's gubernatorial race also in the national spotlight. Fox's Alexandria Hoff has that.
Regardless of the outcome today, it will be a historic one as Virginia will name its first female governor. The Democrat in this race, former Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger, is seeking to return the governor's mansion to her party after 4 years of Governor Glenn Youngkin at the helm. Virginia does not allow consecutive terms, so he has campaigned alongside his Republican Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears to become his successor. Both candidates gave their final pitches last night.
If Republican Earl Sears wins, she would become the first black woman to lead the state. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 42 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm John Cruz in the AlmostFreeTeeth.com newsroom. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds today, high of 61, dry the rest of the week. A Lake County man in federal custody after making threats to kill President Trump. 57-year-old Trent Schneider was taken into custody without incident Monday morning after a joint operation with the U.S. Secret Service and SWAT team in Lake County. Schneider posted an Instagram video on October 16th saying Trump should be executed. He then told a judge on Monday the charges were fraud. Schneider has a court hearing on Thursday. 2 people killed in a crash in Chicago's Bridgeport neighborhood have been identified. A red sedan lost control Sunday night near Rate Field, crossing the median, and struck a black SUV. The 2 killed in the sedan were identified as 24-year-old Juliana Yamilet Rolon and 21-year-old Natalia Andrea Mendez. The driver and passenger of the SUV were taken to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. That investigation continues. A Democratic congressman who represents Illinois' 4th congressional district will not be seeking re-election. Jesse Chuy Garcia will finish out his term. The 69-year-old congressman's chief of staff, Patty Garcia, filed petitions with the Illinois State Board to run for his seat on Monday, which was the deadline. This is a developing story. We'll be following this through the morning and bring you more on air and online. Police looking for a man suspected of stealing drugs from pharmacies on Chicago's north side. Authorities released a photo of the individual they say targeted several pharmacies during October, and each crime, police say the suspect would enter the store, jump the counter, and take bottles of narcotics. The last crime was October 24th in the 1500 block of West Devon Avenue. And Chicago's getting this year's official Christmas tree from a family in suburban Glenview. Crews are busy cutting the tree late Monday before bringing it to Millennium Park later this week. The 68-foot Norway spruce will be on display during the lighting ceremony on November 21st. The tree will stay in place through early January. Big savings on full mouth dental implants are here at almostfreeteeth.com. Medical insurance can make what used to cost a fortune surprisingly affordable. Don't wait. Take the 60-second quiz to see if you qualify at almostfreeteeth.com. A check of your roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Get your tickets for Freedom Summit Chicago 2025, happening on Saturday, November 8th at Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. This year, featuring Dr. Ben Carson, Scott Jennings, Mike Gallagher, along with Dan Proft, Sean Thompson, John Anthony, and many more. This event will sell out fast, so get your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by True Power Generator Service, Woodland Windows and Doors, and by Moms for Liberty. Sign up for the AM 560 Answer Advantage to get early alerts on event ticket sales, special discounts, and contest opportunities. Sign up today at 560theanswer.com/advantage.
When we lose a pet, we lose a member of the family. The house feels quieter, the leash hangs by the door, and our hearts ache for that unconditional love. At Cozy Acres Pet Cemetery and Crematory, they understand that feeling, because they're pet owners too. Since 1981, family-owned Cozy Acres has helped other families say goodbye with dignity, respect, and compassion. Whether you choose burial or cremation, your pet is handled gently, with the same care you gave them every day of their life. They'll guide you through every step of this difficult time, so you can have peace of mind knowing your beloved companion is in good hands. Cozy Acres Pet Cemetery, a final act of love for your faithful friend. Cozy Acres is proudly family-owned, proudly American, and proud to support the values we all share on AM 560 The Answer. Visit cozyacres.co, that's cozy with a K, acres.co, or call 815-723-9588.
Feel that chill in the air? Now's the perfect time to layer up. The outerwear shop is now open at Untuckit with sharp new jackets and vests made for this season and beyond. You'll find all the right layers to keep you warm and looking sharp, including cozy sweaters, sweatshirts, and more. But hurry, fall weather won't wait, and neither should you. So don't miss the outerwear shop, open now at untuckit.com in more than 80 stores worldwide. Untuckit, shirts designed to be worn, untucked.
This month, Pure Talk is supporting Canines for Warriors, a terrific organization that trains rescue dogs and then pairs them up with combat vets struggling with PTSD. This is why I switched to Pure Talk. Sure, I like the unlimited talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, and you will too. But you will love being in business with a company that shares your values. Dial pound 250, say micro, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
Sean Thompson here, and I'm with attorney Bert Hochberg from the law firm of Schiller, Ducanto, and Fleck. We're talking about divorce arbitration. This is not really a new, or is it a new, innovative way to go through divorce?
Arbitration has been around for decades. It's completely legit and available to resolve divorce cases. The litigants and their lawyers sign an arbitration agreement. They identify what the issues are, and we set up dates, and we determine what experts and witnesses there may be. Arbitration is a hearing, a trial that is intended to finish a case efficiently with limited appeal, with a binding decision, and it's confidential, so it has some great characteristics.
I think it's a unique alternative to divorce. For more information, please visit sdflaw.com and type Bert Hochberg into the search box. That's sdflaw.com or call direct 773-255-6150.
Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. Doing really good this morning on the Eden. No delays from Lake Cook to Montrose. It's 14 minutes both ways. The Kennedy inbound from O'Hare to the Burn Interchange, not too bad, 17 minutes. Outbound is 21. The Eisenhower is 14 minutes in both directions from Wolf to the Old Post Office. Now inbound Stevenson from the Tri-State to Lakeshore is 21 minutes. The exit ramp is shut down with construction on the inbound side for Ashland Avenue. So just keep that in mind. Outbound is 15 minutes and looking good on the Dan Ryan both ways from 95th to the Burn Interchange. Inbound is 13, outbound is 10. Watch out for a crash on the southwest side in West Lawn on Pulaski Road at 63rd Street. Traffic is a service of Fox Valley Coins. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today will be partly sunny and pleasant with a high of 62. Expect gusty winds that may move unsecured objects and decorations. Tonight will be clear and breezy with a low of 50. Tomorrow brings partly sunny skies, breezy conditions, and pleasant weather with a high of 59. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. So we began this yesterday, but we're going to restart today. This back and forth over the last several days, instigated in part by Kevin Roberts, the president of the Heritage Foundation. This video he posted with a message defending Tucker Carlson and the Heritage Foundation's relationship with Tucker Carlson after the latest controversial interview, to say the least, that Tucker did on his show, his podcast, with Nick Fuentes. And that drew a response from several in attendance at the Republican Jewish Coalition conference over the weekend, including the great one, Mark Levin. So you'll hear from both of them. And then we'll also get to what Ben Shapiro had to say. He did a 40-minute treatise on the topic, saying that it's the most important thing facing the country right now. I don't know about that. That may be overstating the case. I certainly think that there are problems on the so-called right. And I say so-called right. I've already had some idiot in reference to what I teased last hour, the so-called anti-Semitism on the right. I know there's anti-Semitism. And I know there's anti-Semitism that is being advanced by some who claim to be on the right. But there is, it is improper. My point is to say, on the right, maybe it's the so-called right. I just inverted the words. But anybody who listens to this show, I think is pretty clear where I'm coming down. But, you know, you have to deal with the those who shoot then aim online, of course. But my point is to say any sort of expression of bigotry based on identity, racial, ethnic, religious, you're not on the right. You're not conservative. You're an identitarian. And identitarianism is a philosophy of the left. Conservatives, behavior, content of character. That's how we analyze a particular person or a particular idea or general philosophy, party platform. So if you are pushing things through a lens of identitarianism, all Jews that, all blacks this, well, then you're not a conservative. And I want nothing to do with you. Bright lines. And I don't know how many people know about Nick Fuentes. I mean, I know about him, but I have consumed more of him than I really needed to figure out his deal. And I know he has a following among some younger people that consider themselves MAGA or countercultural, Christian nationalists, these terms that are thrown around. I guess his acolytes are called grapers. I knew that. That's resurfaced. But this is not a serious person. I mean, he may think he's serious, but he's not a serious person in terms of somebody who's a quality thinker, somebody that has a coherent philosophy that is emblematic of the Christianity he purports to subscribe to. So it definitely has to be addressed. I just don't, when I say I don't know how big or irrelevant the following is. I really don't. I just don't follow that guy any more than I wait for Daryl Cooper's next review of World War II history. You can only devote so much mind share to Drek, and I have to deal with enough of it that's on the stated left, much less some impersonating being on the right. That's probably a better way to describe it. Anyway, let's get to it. First, Kevin Roberts, again, president of the Heritage Foundation, and taking it upon himself to respond to the swirl around Tucker after he had a very too friendly interview with Nick Fuentes on his show.
I'll have more to say on this in the coming days, but today I want to be clear about one thing. Christians can critique the state of Israel without being anti-Semitic. And of course, anti-Semitism should be condemned. My loyalty as a Christian and as an American is to Christ first and to America always. When it serves the interests of the United States to cooperate with Israel and other allies, we should do so with partnerships on security, intelligence, and technology. But when it doesn't, conservatives should feel no obligation to reflexively support any foreign government, no matter how loud the pressure becomes from the globalist class or from their mouthpieces in Washington. The Heritage Foundation didn't become the intellectual backbone of the conservative movement by canceling our own people or policing the consciences of Christians. And we won't start doing that now. We don't take direction from comments on X, though we are grateful for the robust free speech debate. We also don't take direction from members or donors, though we are inherently grateful for their support. And we're adding more every day. This is the robust debate we invite with our colleagues, our movement friends, our members, and the American public. We will always defend truth. We will always defend America, and we will always defend our friends against the slander of bad actors who serve someone else's agenda. That includes Tucker Carlson, who remains, and as I have said before, always will be a close friend of the Heritage Foundation. The venomous coalition attacking him are sowing division. Their attempt to cancel him will fail. Most importantly, the American people expect us to be focusing on our political adversaries on the left, not attacking our friends on the right. I disagree with, and even abhor, things that Nick Fuentes says. But canceling him is not the answer either. When we disagree with a person's thoughts and opinions, we challenge those ideas in debate. And we have seen success in this approach as we continue to dismantle the vile ideas of the left. As my friend Vice President Vance said last night, what I am not okay with is any country coming before the interest of American citizens, and it is important for all of us, assuming we are American citizens, to put the interest of our own country first. That's where our allegiance lies, and that's where it will stay.
Well, I like Kevin Roberts and like the Heritage Foundation, generally speaking, but that statement is not very compelling. First of all, to disagree with someone, to criticize someone, that is also an expression of free speech. That is not canceling. No, there's no petition to have Elon Musk remove Tucker Carlson from Twitter or from X, for example. We're criticizing the choices that Tucker has made with respect to what he uses, with how he uses the platform that he has. That's also free speech. It's not cancellation. To disagree is not to cancel. And Kevin Roberts should know better than to make such a silly straw man argument. That's number one. Number two, disagreeing with Nick Fuentes is sort of soft pedaling this guy. And it's not just about Nick Fuentes. If this was Nick Fuentes in isolation, it would be one thing. It's a string with Tucker, unfortunately. In addition to the subjects that he has selected, it's also the way that he treats those subjects he selected, from Putin forward. But I'll let Mark Levin inveigh here before we get your perspectives on this as well. Where are our Levin bites? Okay, here we go. So, Mark Levin, first of all, addressing the Kevin Roberts cancellation business.
Cancel stuff all the time. Hitler admirers, Stalin admirers, Jew haters.
Yeah, but again, that's disagreeing and suggesting that these people are not legitimate, or they're not welcome participants in thoughtful discussions on these topics. Nobody's putting them in a gulag or saying they can't express themselves, publish their work, post on social media. So I think Levin would have been better just to describe the difference between disagreeing and canceling. But anyway, he continued.
We're surrounded by cowards who have microphones, who have TV cameras, who have websites, who have columns. Cowards. It's spelled C-A-R-L-S-O-N. It's spelled F-U-E-N-T-E-S. It's spelled O-W-E-N-S. It's spelled B-A-N-N-O-N. It's spelled Marjorie Trader Green. You can figure that out yourself. And they're not alone. How are we going to attack the Mondamis and the Tlaibs and the Omars and the Sanders and the rest of them when in our own house this poison is spreading? We've got to take care of business. We can fight the enemy on the other side. But the problem is, the more daunting problem, the more complicated problem is when they're in our house and they're trying to take over our house and they're burning down our house. And they're destroying America First, and they're destroying MAGA, and they're destroying the Republican Party, which means they're destroying the country. Either speak up and stand out, but don't be a pretender. Don't be a pretender. We need help to deal with these people.
So Mark Levin doing his best Oscar Mayer impersonation. Coward is spelled T-U-C-K-E-R. It's spelled F-U-E-N-T-E-S. Your views? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line. Let's see here. I wanted to get a text in here. Well, okay. Actually, I don't want to get that text in. I'll keep going. Levin targeting Tucker specifically, adding more color to the comments he's already made. This is, again, from his speech over the weekend at the Republican Jewish Coalition Conference.
To Tucker Carlson, I say, did you have a head injury? What happened to you? But you know what? Unlike other people, truly, I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't care why. I just know what you are. You platform these people. You deceive your audience. You lie to your audience. You become a full-blown, out-of-the-closet Jew hater. And if you're a Jew hater, you're a Christian hater. And they demonstrated that. Christian Zionism. Wow. You know what he said? He said that he despises Christian Zionists more than anybody. More than anybody. More than terrorists? More than Hamas and Hezbollah? More than the Muslim Brotherhood? More than our great friends in Qatar? More than the Taliban? More than mass murders? Christian Zionists? He despises them even more than Jews? Christian Zionists? If you reject Judaism, you reject Christianity. If you reject Judaism and Christianity, then you reject the American founding based on the Judeo-Christian values and belief system.
And he closed, I mean, this wasn't his formal close, but this is essentially the closing appeal that he just repeated in different words for the remainder of his time. What he believes this time requires, as you heard before, standing up and aiding the effort, and what he expects of conservative institutions.
And you're going to see, whether they're in radio or TV or podcasting or politicians, this is going to separate statesmen and leaders from the rest. From the rest. And you can observe this yourselves. These aren't powerful people. Seriously? These aren't intelligent people. These are lowlives that have platforms. If we can't speak out against them and fight them, what good are we? Conservative institutions. We've been putting billions of dollars into conservative institutions for half a century. Now's the time. We're not interested in your white papers. We're not interested in your booklets. We're not interested in your donation requests. Unless now, when you're needed, you speak out and you do something to help save this republic, to help save freedom in this country, to help save the West. Now's the time for conservative institutions to produce.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. One more contribution to the discussion before we get calls, and that was Ben Shapiro. I mentioned he did this 40-minute dissertation on it. And you know, I mean, I'm not really an acolyte of any of the people being discussed here. I don't, Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, Tucker Carlson, none of these individuals are my North Star. I appreciate some of the things they've done. I disagree with other things, positions they've taken, and so on and so forth. They're just other people that have always, well, for the most part, always operated within the conservative ranks. Tucker Carlson's moved around the most of any of them, interestingly enough. I mean, it's not that long ago that he was a country club Republican with a bow tie on Crossfire. But anyway, working for the Weekly Standard and Bill Kristol. So people move around. And that's fine. You always got to give people room to come over to your side. But I'm just saying that this isn't like Ben Shapiro. I don't want to make this Ben Shapiro versus Mark Levin versus Kevin Roberts versus Tucker Carlson. Because it's not about personality as much as it is, again, looking at this through a conservative lens, the substance of what they are saying. the choices they are making. That's what's interesting to me, not the brand names.
Hey, folks, I want to do something different on today's show. We're going to cover one topic in depth. That topic is, I think, the most important thing happening in the country. It was a hot topic last week, but I wanted to take some time to really gather my thoughts and speak on it in coherent fashion, holistic fashion. That topic is the fragmentation of the political right. That fragmentation is being caused purposefully by a splinter faction of people led by a young man named Nick Fuentes. They call themselves the Groypers. They are white supremacists. They hate women, Jews, Hindus, many types of Christians, brown people of a wide variety of backgrounds, blacks, America's foreign policy, and America's Constitution. They admire Hitler and Stalin. And that splinter faction is now being facilitated and normalized within the mainstream Republican Party. The main agent in that normalization is Tucker Carlson, who is an intellectual coward, a dishonest interlocutor, and a terrible friend. And Tucker Carlson last week was aided, abetted, celebrated for normalizing Nazism within the Republican Party by the mainstay organization of the traditional right, the Heritage Foundation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that Kevin Roberts was celebrating Nazism. I think he was soft-pedaling Tucker Carlson's poor judgment calls. That's how I would describe it. But again, I want to be clear on this. Any form of identitarianism excludes you intellectually from conservatism. The two are mutually exclusive. So this is why I said at the outset, the so-called right, anti-Semitism on the so-called right, they're not conservatives. And many of them aren't even Christians anymore, not based on what they're saying and doing. And if anybody wants to defend Nick Fuentes, I dare you. I mean, I'll let you. But just understand, you're going to be walking into a buzzsaw. And I'll get to that in a second, because I know there's a lot of people who don't have exposure to Nick Fuentes. And you should know, now that he's being now that he's being presented as a subject of debate and as one of the, I guess, good guys in certain circles versus bad guys in other circles. I guess you should get a little backgrounder on him, a little one. But go ahead, and if anybody wants to try. Nancy in Northbrook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan, thanks for taking my call. You know, I'm a Jewish conservative, so I know I'm a bit of a unicorn. And I often disagree with Jews, the ADL, organizations like that. I have very strong disagreements with them. But I will tell you, ever since Tucker Carlson left Fox, he has been having guests on his show, softball interviews, not challenging comments that are troubling and that have been anti-Israel for a long time. I used to watch his show on Fox all the time, and after a couple of interviews that I heard him do right when he, went on X, I thought, wow, I don't know what happened to him, but I just can't support him. And it's not only him. Obviously, there are a lot more, and it's very troubling. I happen to be a daughter of Holocaust survivors, and I know where this goes. It's not pretty. It's the anti-Semitism that is out in the open now, that has been on the far left, that is now happening on the right, or I know, Dan, you're saying they're not really on the right, so I'm not sure what you call it. It is terrifying. For 2 years, since October 7th, myself and other Jews walked around with a hole in our hearts for what happened, not only on October 7th, but on October 8th, where millions of people around the world were cheering for Hamas. And Tucker Carlson having, the president of Iran and the other guests he's had. And I will add, J.D. Vance the other night at Ole Miss, he said some very, very troubling things. In addition, one of them was that this country was founded on Christian principles. And I'm sorry, but this country was founded on Judeo-Christian principles. A lot of the principles came right out of Genesis. Mm-hmm. And for him to make those statements and also not to challenge a question claiming, quote-unquote, genocide in Gaza, it was terrifying to hear him talk. And he is close with Tucker Carlson, and I did write him an email after that speech and those comments. Very, very troubling. It's terrifying. It is absolutely terrifying.
Thank you for the call, Nancy. Appreciate that perspective. I do. Coming up at 6:36, we're going to take more of your calls. So stick on this topic. I want to get Bannon in. Bannon responded to Mark Levin. Don't want to forget about Bannon. And then some of the comments that Nick Fuentes made, particularly in Tucker's presence on this interview in question, that call Tucker's judgment into question. That's at 6:36. Now we check the headlines.
Good morning. 43 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer in the Surround Chicago newsroom. Lots of sun today. Breezy, highs near 60. The 46th Vice President of the U.S., Dick Cheney, has died. He served under President George W. Bush from 2001 to 2009. In a statement, the former VP died late Monday with his wife, daughters, and family members by his side. Dick Cheney was 84. A $6,000 reward being offered for info leading to the arrest of suspects involved in a violent carjacking in the Bridgeport neighborhood. Ting Chui was approached by a man with a gun Friday. He was preparing to go trick-or-treating with a child when a suspect struck him with a firearm, took his keys, phone, and wallet. Police found the vehicle 5 miles away on the near west side and are still looking for those two suspects. And a Chicago area woman who was stranded in Jamaica due to Hurricane Melissa without access to her life-saving medication, now back home. Trinette Britt, who is a kidney transplant recipient, is chief of staff for the South Suburban Rich Township Supervisor Calvin Jordan. Elected officials worked with the State Department to find a Jamaican doctor to get her that much-needed medication. News, a service of Salem Surround, a local digital marketing agency providing high-performing digital solutions to surround your target audience. Go to surroundchicago.com today. We're checking traffic in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Mike Gallagher sees the double standard working again.
They think they can call all of us fascists and Hitlers and Nazis all day long. They can get violent. They can do whatever they want to do. Trump has some fun with an AI video, and they melt down like the Wicked Witch of the West getting a bucket of water dumped on her.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Welcome to another edition of Tuesdays with Tim, where we talk all things retirement. I'm here with my friend Tim Stearns, a certified financial planner with TJ Stearns Financial Planning in Arlington Heights. Tim, what are the biggest expenses listeners will face in retirement? And please explain the process you take to address these expenses.
Well, Dan, most people think it's healthcare, and it is one of them. But the number one expense in retirement is actually taxes, and that needs to be addressed. Most people have put their money year after year in their tax-deferred accounts like 401ks and IRAs, and they have basically deferred their taxes for a long time. But they've created a tax time bomb, and they don't know it. And that's why we offer the Tax Impact Report.
Tim, so many of us lack a retirement tax plan. For your clients and customers, how do you help map out a tax plan in retirement?
Well, we start with a tax impact report. Most people know how much money they saved for retirement, but they have no idea how much they'll be paying in taxes throughout their retirement. We will run them a report that shows if they default to the IRS's plan, what they will pay in taxes, or they can get ahead of it and mitigate those taxes by being proactive in their tax planning rather than reactive.
Tim, you advertise a complimentary risk assessment report of our listeners' portfolio. Explain what that is, what it reveals, and how AM 560 listeners can sign up for this report.
Dan, we found that many of our listeners do not understand how much risk they have in their underlying portfolio. The strong stock market has made investors lackadaisical in their approach to risk in their hard-earned portfolios. We can ascertain how much risk is actually in their portfolio, and most importantly, show them tools that can help mitigate that risk.
Thank you, Tim. If you're in your 50s or 60s, I want you to speak with my friend Tim Stearns. Tim will help you structure and optimize your savings to prepare for 20 to 30 years of enjoyable retirement. Call Tim today to schedule your free consultation and get your free risk report. That's 1-800-640-2256. Again, that's 800-640-2256. Tell him I sent you when you call 800-640-2256.
This past year has been one of the hardest in MyPillow's history. It's because of you that they are making it through. They want to thank you for your continued support by extending their wholesale prices on classic MyPillows. Get standard classic MyPillows for only $14.98. It gets even better. Upgrade to a queen size MyPillow for just $18.98. King size only $1 more, or multi-use pillows for only $9.98. Get body pillows for $29.98 with a free pillowcase. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY to take advantage of these wholesale prices, including the standard size MyPillow, originally $49.98, now only $14.98. Queens $18.98. Kings only $1 more. That's 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. Order $100 or more and your order ships absolutely free. We know MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty, but MyPillow has just announced that they are extending their 60-day money-back guarantee. That's right. Orders placed between now and December 25th will have their 60-day money-back guarantee extended through March 1st, 2026.
When the power goes out, life stops. Heat, AC, fridge, phones, all gone. But with a Generac home standby generator from True Power Generator Service, your home powers back on automatically, so you're never left in the dark. Book your consultation today at TruePowerGenerator.com. That's TruePowerGenerator.com. Plus, 560 listeners get a free 10-year extended warranty. Terms and conditions apply. Call for details. True Power Generator Service and Generac. It's not just a generator, it's a power move.
Want to see if you could pay less in taxes? Try the quick and easy tax calculator at willsave.com. Yes, a free tax calculator. That's WILSAVE.com. Calculate how you could keep more of your hard-earned money and give less to Uncle Sam, especially in retirement. Get your free tax analysis today at willsave.com. And don't forget to tune in to Protecting Your Assets with Steve Shyman every Saturday morning at 8, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Progressive Insurance. Take the next step forward in your career with great benefits and an award-winning workplace. Apply at careers.progressive.com.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. Stop and go delays on the inbound Stevenson between Harlem Avenue and Cicero Avenue with a crash taking out the left lane. So it's going to be 34 minutes between the Tri-State to Lakeshore. And then you also have the exit ramp on the inbound side shut down for construction at Ashland Avenue. The Kennedy inbound from O'Hare to the Byrne Interchange, 21 minutes. Outbound is 27. Inbound Eisenhower from Wolf to the O Post Office, 23 minutes. Outbound is 14, and the Dan Ryan inbound from 95th to Byrne Interchange is 18 minutes, outbound is 10. This report is sponsored by Macy's Backstage. Macy's Backstage is a whole department inside your Macy's store where you'll find everything you need for the holidays, all for under $35. With new arrivals every day, you never know what amazing deals you'll find. Don't wait, find a location at Macy'sBackstage.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today will be partly sunny and pleasant with gusty winds that may move unsecured objects and decorations. The high will reach 62. Tonight will be clear and breezy with a low of 50. Tomorrow expect partly sunny skies, breezy conditions, and pleasant weather with a high of 59. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, get your tickets for Freedom Summit Chicago 2025, featuring Dr. Ben Carson, Scott Jennings, Mike Gallagher, and many more. Get your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. We're talking about Tucker Carlson interview of Nick Fuentes, which spawned a defense from Heritage Foundation's Kevin Roberts, which spawned a reaction from a number of speakers at the Republican Jewish Coalition conference over the weekend, including, most notably, Mark Levin, which spawned a reaction from Steve Bannon on his podcast to Mark Levin, which spawned a treatise by Ben Shapiro on the whole topic, and now our discussion as well, because this is something that conservatives have to deal with when you have brand names that are at least perceived to be conservative making, in my view, poor judgment calls, or worse, saying things that are indefensible and that have no place among conservative thought leaders. Certainly do not inform who I am as a conservative. And Mark Levin is right to say people need to step up and make sure it's clear on which side they stand here. It is a bit, I mean, our caller Nancy, before the news, it is a bit jarring that we're really having to have an argument among conservatives, and I would call perceived conservatives, because as soon as you give into identitarianism, then you're lost. It's gone. You're without mooring. But that we have to have this discussion about the Judeo-Christian founding of our nation. It's amazing people that have such followings who know so little about American history. Or are pretending to not know, which is even worse. Ignorance can be cured. Pretending not to know is a little bit more vicious. So you heard from Mark Levin basically saying that this is, to borrow a Goldwater's, and this is a time for choosing here. And he expects conservative institutions to stand up and conservative media types to stand up and be counted. And had choice words for Tucker and others, as did Shapiro. Bannon on his podcast had this to say about Levin and the RJC, the Republican Jewish Coalition.
Guys, the RJC out there this weekend condemning everybody. Just like, remember, they're the biggest Never Trump group out there. They had DeSantis. They were all set up. The whole DeSantis thing is their operation. So please spare me. Please spare me what you're going to do. Okay? Please spare me your definition of what MAGA is. Okay? We've been in the trenches with MAGA from the beginning. When you guys hated Trump initially, you hate Trump all the time. Except when he's doing something for you. Mark Levin, he does nothing but hot air. Mark Levin, instead of running your mouth, what are you doing in New York City? I tell you what we're doing. We're going to denaturalize Mandami.
Yeah, he's going to denaturalize Mandami right, and then he's going to get Trump elected to a third term. Okay. Here's the point with Bannon there. First of all, you're referring to those guys in the Republican Jewish Coalition. I know members of the Republican Jewish Coalition. Not all of them were with DeSantis. A lot of them were with Trump, certainly at the end of the process in 2016, and have stuck with Trump and are still with Trump now. I mean, is there some purity test? There were a lot of people with Trump in 2016 that went with DeSantis initially because they thought Trump's not electable. Whatever they thought, it was a misguided political calculation starting with DeSantis, but that doesn't make them never Trumpers. And the other thing is, you guys, like they're monolithic. And they're not. Bit of a tell. Some things that Nick Fuentes, just because this interview is central to what sparked this whole discussion around the country within conservative circles. I think I should give you a little bit of appreciation for those who don't know of what Nick Fuentes is peddling and how Tucker Carlson treated it in the interview he did of Fuentes. So, for example, there was this exchange.
It's actually funny. It was December 18th. I remember because that's an important date to me. And it's Joseph Stalin's birthday.
Oh.
I'm a fan.
You're a fan of Stalin's?
Mm-hmm. Always an admirer. But we don't need to go into that, I guess.
Let's, okay, let's get back to it. We'll circle back to that.
Are you an admirer of Stalin, such that you have his birthday on your calendar? No, let's stop right there. And why don't you give me a dissertation on your Stalin fandom? What exactly did you like? The purges? The totalitarianism? I'm a fan of Stalin. And that's not the only person he's a fan of, in his own words.
Hitler was a pedophile and kind of a pagan. It's like, well, he was also really f***ing cool. So, time to grow up. We're not children anymore. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right, boys? Am I right? Let's go. He was also really f***ing cool.
Take some calls before we have to endure any more of Nick Fuentes. Tina in Joliet.
Hi, good morning. Hey, that woman who called previously, she's spot on. We have a real problem, and Tucker Carlson. It's one thing to criticize the government of Israel. He's taken it a step further, and I posted a clip of him the other day, basically praising Sharia law. My jaw hit the ground. I could not believe. He was talking about how the streets are safe. You could leave your keys in your Lamborghini in Abu Dhabi and not have to worry. It was unbelievable. And he was
sure. It was like when he went grocery shopping in Moscow, and he was just knocked over by how cheap groceries were there compared to America. So they've really got something figured out there in Putin's Russia.
I mean, it's so shocking. And what I keep trying to impress upon my fellow MAGA conservative friends is that propaganda works on everybody. And the amount of money that China and Qatar spend is 4x what Israel spends through AIPAC, lobbying our elected officials. And they're not impervious to the garbage that is being pumped out all over social media, all over YouTube. It's everywhere, Dan. And people are telling me now that I'm not MAGA because I stand firmly with Israel and that I don't support Tucker Carlson. Like, get the hell out of here. If we're in that woman has every right to be afraid. That's all I'm going to say. It's very scary.
Thanks for the call, Tina. Well, since you mentioned it, here's Nick Fuentes on MAGA.
You suck. You are fat. You are a joke. You are stupid. Trump. You are not funny. You are not as smart as you think you are. You are, and honestly, and if you watch my show, I've been very critical. I've never been this far. This just goes to show this entire thing has been a scam. When we look back on the history of populism in America, we are going to look back on the MAGA movement as the biggest scam in American history. And the liberals were right. The MAGA supporters were had. They were.
I'm sorry. I guess like gamer incels that eschew the left because the left hates men. They found a home with Nick Fuentes. I guess that's its audience. I don't really pretend to understand it. But this is no good. Do I really have to say that? I hope that's obvious. This is no good. And I can go a lot deeper here. And with respect to Tucker, all it takes is a cursory review of Nick Fuentes' bloviations to get a handle on this. Which is why you may remember when somehow, I can't remember who it was, somebody got him into Mar-a-Lago and he was part of dinner with Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Well, I said at the time, where's the vetting going on there? This is obviously before he was elected, but still. Jim in Barrington.
Hey, do you think it's time for the president to speak out on this? Because when the vice president had a chance to speak out 3 weeks ago to condemn the indefensible, he said we shouldn't be clutching our pearls about this.
Yep, I do think so. I do think Trump should speak out on this. Thanks for the call, Jim. I agree with Levin. I don't agree with everything Levin said, but I agree that it's time to make sure everybody understands where everybody is. And we're clear on the course we're going to chart, or we're going to hash it out. But I mean, I don't want to give Nick Fuentes time, and it's not just Fuentes; it's a bunch of other people that Tucker Carlson has soft pedaled in the interviews he's done. And no, I'm not going to be a party to that, and I don't think the president wants to be a party to that either. And I think you should make it clear. I think Van should too. I think decent people have to speak with a singular voice when stuff like this is being peddled and getting any kind of audience. Lee in Hammond.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm getting a little long a tooth. I'm in my 70s. I seem to remember when, I think it was the Illinois Supreme Court ruled that Nazis could march in Skokie. The First Amendment doesn't have to be pretty. Nick Fuentes, he's a minor actor. I don't even know much about him, but Tucker Carlson, if he wants to expose this guy in a show, the public can make judgment on what they think of what this guy thinks.
I know.
Tucker Carlson is actually doing a service by exposing these people to the American people and let them make the judgment on it. And as far as Israel...
Hold on. I hate straw man arguments. I really do. Nobody has said anything about Nick Fuentes being able to peddle his hate or Tucker Carlson being able to do softball interviews on a show. Don't give me straw man arguments. Nobody is making that claim that they should be canceled, they should be prohibited, they should be censored. Nobody said that. So stop it. And also, don't give me since when can we criticize the state of Israel? Of course you can criticize the state of Israel. You can criticize Netanyahu, just like any other politician or any other government, including our own. Of course you can. Another straw man argument. But just in terms of the founding of the country, George Washington, may the children of the stock of Abraham who dwell in this land continue to merit and enjoy the goodwill of the other inhabitants, while everyone shall sit in safety under his own vine and fig tree, and there shall be none to make him afraid. May the Father of all mercies scatter light and not darkness upon our paths, and make us all in our several vocations useful here, and in his own due time and way everlastingly happy. I mean, you want me to go through founder after founder after founder? What Nancy from the North Shore said about the Judeo-Christian influence, the book of Genesis. George Washington talking about the Exodus to Israel as inspiration to take on the British Empire. Mac in Goodyear, Arizona.
Morning, Dan. I'm calling to ask you about Levin, but back to your comment you just made, I'm curious, because I don't know, what do you want Trump and Vance to come out and say explicitly? What would you want them to say?
I want them to say that there is no place in MAGA or the conservative movement for people that are going to peddle mistruths and bigotry against other people as a group. That's the identitarianism of the left, and it's rejected on the right. Simple.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And to Levin, I ask a little bit out of ignorance, but I get real sick as a constitutional conservative when people seem to be preaching at me. And listening to Levin over the weekend and what you played, who died and made Levin Christ? Because it seems like with Levin, who I like, his book on liberty and tyranny is one of the best, but it seems as though when anybody whispers anything half negative about Israel, he goes post-on ballistic and wants to burn that person down. And it just is very, very irritating to me, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Thanks for the call, Mac. I mean, I think Levin, just as a personality, forget the issue of Israel or Judaism or this topic. I think he's just, he's just a bit of a, he's a bit of a, sledgehammer to a gnat kind of guy, just generally speaking. So I just think that's somewhat his personality. But I hear you. I think, more modulation there could always be helpful, but we're probably past post with that on Levin. Dan Proft, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. Salem News Channel is America's fastest growing conservative TV network.
It's an absolute crazy day.
Home to the largest lineup of free speech champions anywhere, delivering in-depth insight and unapologetic opinion on today's biggest news stories.
Americans aren't going to put up with this anymore.
SNC brings you the news that matters, told with integrity and clarity. Watch Salem News Channel free 24/7 on your television. Stream now on Samsung TV Plus, channel 1177. AM 560, The Answer.
That now means it's time for In-Depth History with Frank, the history teacher from Arlington Heights, because there's nothing new in this world, just the history you don't know, and Frank does. Frank, take it away.
Good morning. In 1858, Abraham Lincoln was running for the Senate against the very powerful and well-known Stephen Douglas. Unable to get him to debate, Lincoln started following Douglas around from town to town, giving a speech hours later to the same audience Douglas had just thought he had convinced of his position. Eventually, Lincoln and Douglas agreed to 7 debates, one of which was held in Freeport, Illinois, near Galena. It was here that Lincoln posed the question as to whether territories had the right to pass laws against slavery, despite the Supreme Court's Dred Scott versus Sanford decision, which prohibited Congress from banning slavery there. Douglas, trying to mollify the growing abolitionist movement in Illinois, replied with what is known as the Freeport Doctrine, which said that slavery could not practically exist in any territory without local laws to enforce it. So basically, Douglas was trying to bait the anti-slavery movement into embracing pre-Confederate John Calhoun's nullification theory to achieve local abolition, which would have legitimated Democrats using it later to further slavery's expansion elsewhere. This helped Douglas win the Illinois Senate seat, but in 1860 it caused the Democrats to split into northern and southern factions, allowing Lincoln to win the presidency. Democrats today, with federal control out of reach, are hearkening back to this antebellum notion that our democracy is essentially a buffet in which each state or locality can pick the laws it wants to uphold and dismiss those it doesn't. And Governor Pritzker, who knows buffets pretty well, is one of the most aggressive at this, as Illinois just flat out ignores federal immigration law. Like Douglas, he may win another term, but his prospects for national office are dim, as this won't fly in Pennsylvania. And let's hope Illinois voters turn on him too, which might be a good thing for J. Bob, as he probably needs to get back to running his own financial affairs. His income of $10.7 million on a $3.9 billion fortune is a pretty paltry return. Could this be a hidden reason for his trip last year to Sin City?
You know, all those blind trusts in the Caymans and the Bermuda and elsewhere.
Why don't we get to see his 1041? Why isn't that tax form revealed? Where does all these hundreds of millions of dollars he spends on his campaign, where does that come from?
Great questions, Frank. It is now 7 o'clock on AM 560 WIND Chicago.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Kathleen Maloney. Former Vice President Dick Cheney has died at the age of 84. Fox's Lillian Wu reports.
Dick Cheney, chosen by George W. Bush in 2000 as his running mate.
I accept your nomination for Vice President of the United States.
He served from 2001 to 2009 under President Bush, where he played a central role in the administration's war on terror and was considered by many political observers to be the most influential vice president in recent history. He'd also served as Secretary of Defense under President George H.W. Bush and been President Ford's White House Chief of Staff.
Cheney died of complications of pneumonia as well as cardiac and vascular disease. The race for governor of Virginia features 2 women, one of whom will make history as the first female to lead the state. Republican Winsome Earl Sears, currently the state's lieutenant governor, makes a final pitch to voters.
I'm going to make sure you keep as much of your own money in your pocket because you worked hard for it. So taxes are going to be lower. You're going to be safe and secure in your own homes. We know how to do this. We're not going to defund the police. We're not going to get rid of their qualified immunity. And then, of course, we're going to make sure we continue to create jobs.
Democratic candidate Abigail Spanberger is a vocal critic of President Trump and sees this election as an opportunity to send a message to Washington, D.C. The race for governor of New Jersey is being closely watched. Fox's Gernal Scott with the latest.
Democrat Mikey Sherrill could become the first female Democrat to become New Jersey governor. She said in Union City Monday she'll need every vote to do it.
This is an important election. We're going to win this with your help. And we're going to get out the vote, and we're going to make real change.
Over in Neptune City Monday, Republican Jack Ciattarelli hopes his third run will pay off.
Ciattarelli has the backing of President Trump. This is the first major election since he reclaimed the White House. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning, 44 degrees in Chicago and AM 560 The Answer. I'm John Cruz in the Woodland Windows newsroom. Sunny and the winds will pick up by late afternoon, high around 16. A teenager in critical condition this morning after a shooting on Chicago's west side. Police say the 18-year-old was standing in an alley last night, the 5600 block of West Madison Avenue, when 3 unknown males fired gunshots in his direction. The suspects fled on foot and the teen was sent to the hospital with a gunshot wound to his chest. No arrests have been made. A Via Park teen accused of punching a a police officer after a high-speed chase. Azik Davila has been ordered detained on multiple charges, including aggravated battery to a police officer. Prosecutors say on Saturday that Villa Park police officer began chasing a vehicle being driven by that 18-year-old suspect on St. Charles Road. The vehicle sped away before being stopped near Westmore. An officer grabbed Davila, who then punched the officer in the face 2 times before he ran away. That suspect eventually caught a short time later by an assisting officer. Chicago area businesses and programs offering aid to SNAP recipients who have had their benefits frozen due to the shutdown. Iconic Chicago restaurant Manny's Deli offering free meals to anyone who presents a SNAP card. Other area businesses that are providing free meals, the Wooden Paddle in suburban LaGrange, Tazza Italian Ristorante in suburban Homer Glen, and the Soul Food Lounge in Chicago. In a court filing Monday, the Trump administration said the money would cover 50% of eligible households' current allotments for SNAP. The city of Chicago, Cook County, and the state of Illinois continue to appeal President Trump's recent denial of a disaster declaration request submitted by Governor Pritzker. The request was looking for federal assistance for storms that caused flooding across Illinois in July and August. They say the flooding resulted in widespread property damage, prolonged power outages, and disruptions to transportation and essential services. The city of Chicago beginning another round of damage assessments today. These assessments part of the appeal process. News, a service of Woodland Windows and Doors and Roselle. For over 52 years, Woodland has been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, featuring styles ranging from modern to traditional. Visit woodlandwindows.com to get started today. A check of your roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Get your tickets for Freedom Summit Chicago 2025, happening on Saturday, November 8th at Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. This year, featuring Dr. Ben Carson, Scott Jennings, Mike Gallagher, along with Dan Proft, Sean Thompson, John Anthony, and many more. This event will sell out fast, so get your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Quick Delivery Service Incorporated and by Virago.
Dennis Prager here for AmFed Coin and Bullion. I've always been a strong believer in precious metals investment, and I've always been fascinated with rare coin collecting. But owning the wrong coins that only make dealers a lot of money can be catastrophic for your investment portfolio. AmFed Coin and Bullion specializes in taking people out of non-performing coin portfolios and turning them into gold, silver, or platinum bullion. They tailor a portfolio based on your goals and not what they want to sell you. You'll never experience scare tactics, misleading hype, or high-pressure sales from owner Nick Grovich and his very knowledgeable staff. They will evaluate your portfolio, show you how your coins have performed, and take the time to educate you on the ugly industry practices so that you can make an informed decision. Smart people can make very bad investments when they're under pressure and lack the facts. Call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com.
Feel that chill in the air? Now's the perfect time to layer up. The outerwear shop is now open at Untuckit with sharp new jackets and vests made for this season and beyond. You'll find all the right layers to keep you warm and looking sharp, including cozy sweaters, sweatshirts, and more. But hurry, fall weather won't wait, and neither should you. So don't miss the outerwear shop, open now at Untuckit.com in more than 80 stores worldwide. Untuckit, shirts designed to be worn, untucked.
This month, Pure Talk is supporting Canines for Warriors, a terrific organization that trains rescue dogs and then pairs them up with combat vets struggling with PTSD. This is why I switched to Pure Talk. Sure, I like the unlimited talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, and you will too. But you will love being in business with a company that shares your values. Dial pound 250, say Micro, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. You heard my warning. Illinois tax amnesty is live now. It started October 1st and ends November 17th. For a short window, pay your qualifying back taxes, and the state will wipe out penalties and interest. No strings attached. But when November 17th hits, this steal is gone. If you're a 1099 worker, contractor, or small business owner, timing is everything. You need clear steps fast. Here's what to do. Go to fightbacknow.com and sign up for my free daily email. You'll get plain English updates, action steps, what qualifies, and the common mistakes that can cost you thousands. Free, daily, straight to your inbox. Get the free daily email now and follow along. Go to fightbacknow.com and sign up for the free daily email. That's fightbacknow.com, your step-by-step guide before the clock runs out November 17th.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. Jam-packed on the inbound Bishop Ford between 115th Street and 103rd Street with an accident taking out the left lane at 103rd Street. Then you're stop and go on the Veterans Memorial Tollway northbound between 75th Street and the Reagan Memorial with a collision. Dump on the right shoulder right at the interchange. The Kennedy inbound from O'Hare to the Byrne interchange is 30 minutes. Outbound is 44. The Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office is 31 minutes. Outbound is 32. Now, inbound Stevenson, a crash cleared at Cicero Avenue, but still stop and go between First Avenue and Western Avenue with another accident, and then roadwork closes down the exit ramp at Ashland Avenue. So it's 33 minutes inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore. Outbound is 23. The Dan Ryan inbound from 95th to the Byrne interchange is 24 minutes. Outbound is 11. Traffic is a service of almostfreeteeth.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today will be partly sunny and pleasant with gusty winds that may move unsecured objects and decorations. The high will reach 62. Tonight will be clear and breezy with a low of 50. Tomorrow expect partly sunny skies, breezy conditions, and pleasant weather with a high of 59. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Sports and politics and sports and politics and sports and politics and intersection. Arrogance and ignorance. Arrogance, ignorance, and arrogance and ignorance. Intersection.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. On this special edition of Sports and Politics, I am going to make an exception, one time only, and characterize soccer as a sport, even though, as we know, it's a calisthenic. The controversy involves Elizabeth Eddy, who is a soccer player for Angel City FC. Is that the name of it? Yeah. L.A. Angel City FC defender. She's played 11 seasons in something called the NWSL, National Women's Soccer League. Been around for 11 years. Maybe more, ostensibly. She wrote a op-ed in the New York Post talking about the growth in the league popularity. They're halfway through a 4-year, $240 million television contract after having just their games live streamed on YouTube when she first started 11 years ago. But there are eligibility controversies that persist in soccer, she writes, and she would like them addressed. She writes, leaders from across the political spectrum, including progressives like Newsom and Harris, Gavin and Kamala, have expressed support for stronger protections for the integrity of women's sports. Yeah, but they didn't mean it, Elizabeth. Anyway, I get why she's using them. Ensuring fairness prompted numerous international leagues to tighten eligibility. World Athletics did so in 2023 for international track and field competition. Addressing the challenge entails remembering why women's sports categories exist in the first place. Not to exclude, but to create a space where female athletes can physically compete on equal footing. Here's something that will shock the identitarians, as it does every time it's stated and restated. Again, the things you can't believe you actually have to say out loud in 2025. Studies show measurable differences between men and women in muscle mass, bone density, and cardiovascular capacity, which directly affect competitive outcomes. You don't say. She writes, fairness and inclusion are core American values. Reasonable people can disagree about where to draw lines, but avoiding the conversation altogether by shutting out diverse views does not serve us. I like the fact she's using their lingo against them. In fact, we owe it to current and future female athletes to solve this. The NWSL, the National Women's Soccer League, must adopt a clear standard. One option is all players must be born with ovaries, as something called the FA requires. Another one is the SRY gene test, like those World Athletics and Boxing implemented. Yeah, the ovaries is a pretty bright line, it seemed to me. She goes on to say, just as we built a new space for women to compete in the largest arenas, now we must honor that commitment and make the National Women's Soccer League for women. I welcome leaders, including the aforementioned American politicians, to come together with the NWSL's blueprint and build solutions. Women's sports showcases the full range, or women's sports showcase the full range of human ability as we reach and exceed what's physically possible. Everyone needs a chance to break records and achieve the previously impossible. That's why we love to celebrate women competing against each other, and why we need creative solutions to ensure everybody can compete on a level playing field. It would be nice to have no need for clear eligibility criteria. Unfortunately, when money, power, and fame are at stake, which inevitably happens in professional sports, competitors may try to push on what is right or fair, especially when the goal of winning requires using every available advantage. So, I mean, you get the tone and the sense of this op-ed. Wait till you hear the response from her teammates. She stepped out. She's got 11 years in the league. Maybe she's at near the tail end, and she's like, okay, I don't care anymore. I got to do something about this to try to leave a legacy. And good for her for stepping out. It's not easy, particularly when I'm sure she had a good idea that not everybody in the locker room was going to agree. So up steps Sarah Gordon and Angelina Anderson, who had a little presser to express their outrage. I mean, listen to the way they characterize what she said. What you're about to hear from them is nowhere to be found in her comments in that New York Post column. But, of course, that doesn't matter because they have to slime her in order to paper over the preposterousness of their position, like good little leftists.
Going into this, I'm a little bit nervous because I think it's a big job to represent your team and speak for your team, and not just that, speak for others who this will be important to. We've all obviously seen the article that was written in the New York Post earlier this week, so I really want to start off by saying that that article does not speak for this team in this locker room. I've had a lot of combos with my teammates in the past few days, and they are hurt and they are harmed by the article, and also they are disgusted by some of the things that were said in the article, and it's really important for me to say that. And we don't agree with the things written for a plethora of reasons, but mostly the undertones come across as transphobic and racist as well. The article calls for genetic testing on certain players, and it has a photo of an African player as a headline, and that's very harmful. And to me, it's inherently racist because to single out this community based on them looking or being different is absolutely a problem. And as a mixed woman with a Black family, I'm devastated by the undertones of this article.
For me personally, when I think of LA and I think of Angel City, I think of a place that was founded upon inclusivity and love for all people. That's what our locker room is. That's what our staff is. That's what our fan base is. Angel City is a place for everyone. It always will be. That's how it was from the beginning. That's how it always will be, period. And I think this situation, there's, Lisa, you kind of touched on it. There's an element of timing to it where this feels like another really big challenge that we have to go through as a team on top of an already really challenging year. And it's definitely not the note that we as a group want to end on. And so I just want everyone to know that we're doing our best in the locker room to preserve respect and belonging on this team. And we look forward to ending the season on as positive of a note as possible.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Angel City FC apparently is owned by Disney. And so the official Angel City FC X account, our captain spoke with courage and clarity. No one in our community should be questioned, harassed, or targeted because of their identity. You see the poison of identity politics? First of all, Elizabeth Eddy didn't do any of those things. How it was racist, she didn't even bring up race in the entirety of her op-ed. It's just absurd. But the absurdities are what you have to reduce yourself to in order to defend this position. Clay Travis, I mean, this is sort of an obvious play, but that's okay. Clay Travis offered $100,000 to any NWSL player who can make the men's league. Just to, not so subtly underscore the point. Yeah. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You thought it was over because Trump got elected. Another file in that under that heading. I thought this was over because Trump got elected. Not quite. Culture doesn't turn on a dime. And not all of the neo-Marxist revolutionaries lay down their arms because they lose an election. There's a lesson in there somewhere, isn't there? Related story. This is kind of fun. I really like this young woman. Tish Hyman is her name. She's working out at Gold's Gym in Angel City. She's in L.A. too. And a dude follows her into the women's locker room. And you got to see this dude. He literally is like just a regular. He's not even attempting to look like a female, impersonate a female. He's just a dude dressed like a dude, except he's got an earring in that looks like my great aunt's earring. That's about the only thing that connotes femininity. So he walks in and she challenges his presence. And she gets kicked out of Gold's Gym and has her membership revoked. And she makes a bit of a scene in the lobby area for all to see and hear.
At Gold's Gym, men, grown men with big in the women's locker room. And that's why I'm getting kicked out. And I want to make sure the girls know. Everybody saw that man in the locker room. No one saying and I'm done with it. It's stupid. It's dangerous. Me naked in front of a man without my permission. I'm the one who gets kicked out the gym, y'all. I'm terminated for not wanting men in the locker room.
Reached her breaking point, apparently, did Tish. Understandable. And this was the confrontation with the dude. And there was another dude present. And it almost came to blows. Thankfully, it didn't.
How are you? Did you tell me or not that women like to see...
asking you a fucking question.
Exactly. Get out of the way now. No. Now he knows how to be a man, right? Now he knows how to be a man. Stay out of the women's locker room. We don't want it. He needs to have his gym membership revoked for that. And the woman told you. He assaulted me. The girl told already. We already filed reports. No.
That's fine. I want the video.
You can't get rid of me for this. I'm a woman and I have every right to not want a man in the restroom when I'm naked. There are girls naked in there. Look at them walking in there like it's okay. It's not okay.
I understand.
I'm not quoting.
Love it. She was escorted out by police. I guess he got to stay and enjoy his time in the women's locker room. And by the way, like a regular looking dude presenting as a regular looking dude, minus the little earring, why would he want it in the women's locker room? I mean, I think she's right to be suspicious that this guy has ulterior motives. It's not even a political statement or something like that, because he's not pretending to be a woman. He just wants in to the women's locker room. Unless he was trying to instigate this I don't know. I don't know the motivations, but I know that we need more women like Tish Hyman to draw that line, don't we? Dave and Gurnee, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, I mean, go back before the Berlin Wall fell, and we had the East German women that were taking testosterone and male growth hormone, and they were obviously superior to the other women. and that was a female taking male hormones. So a dude walking in fully male obviously has a superior chance over them. So, I mean, not even one generation later, we have gone way off the rails. It's just incredible that how something that was so clear-cut back in the 70s became muddied on purpose by politics. It's just interesting. And I work at a company that makes one of the drugs that are used to castrate men, and that they're using now as a puberty blocker for little boys. It's just incredible how, 40 years later, we have just gone crazy.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for the call, Dave. Yeah. Give all those East German women hopped up on HGH their medals back. Michael in New Jersey.
Hi, good morning. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the election here.
Okay.
I'm seeing a lot of enthusiasm for Citarelli. But I'm concerned about election integrity, which is so important as President Trump. He brought it up in his interview with 60 Minutes a number of times, how the 2020 election was stolen. In fact, he talks about it, like 1,000 times a day. So being that the 2020 election was stolen, he's been in office for 10 months and has his own personal DOJ. Where are all the investigations and arrests?
Yeah, all right. We'll tackle that. Thanks for the call, Michael. We'll tackle that another time. But Paul in Marengo, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan. So I find it always curious that it's always men in the women's bathroom. Why is it never a case where it's women trying to get in men's sports or women in men's bathrooms?
It is unusual, isn't it? I mean, like the closest thing... Wait. No, I'm trying to think. I was going to say the closest thing we have, but no, I can't think of a closest thing. I think the closest thing we had was like Annika Sorenstam trying to play on the PGA for like one tournament that she missed the cut on. But yeah, I mean, well, exactly. Thanks for the call, Paul, because everybody knows what the score is. The only people pretending not to know are the people pretending to be women and pretending to be political leaders running for office. Like that hapless former California comptroller or something who's running for governor. When she was on with Piers Morgan the other week, we played her. It's not even worth going back. It's just, I think that women in some sports, some track and field sports, could compete with men. Possibly. We just don't know. The evidence isn't in. We need more studies. And she suggested like short distance track events, like the 100-meter. And Piers Morgan is like, are you serious? You think there's a female on the planet that could run as fast as, say, Usain Bolt? I mean, this is the suspension of disbelief, the make-believe world that you have to create in order to, indulge a certain particularly outspoken and often vitriolic minority and use them as leverage for your larger solidarity and marginality coalition that you build around identity. That's what the left does. And they're going to continue to do it until they're properly beaten back again and again at the ballot box. And certainly in California, that hasn't happened. Thus, you see the expressions continue. At Gold's Gym, professional soccer. Dan Proft, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
From darkness to divine light, the Sag Bridge Mission Society brings you an engaging evening with author and evangelist Zachary King, a former high wizard Satanist who experienced a powerful conversion through the Blessed Mother and miraculous journey to Catholicism. Mr. King will teach how spiritual influences and modern culture can open doors to darkness and how to protect your family. Register now at sagbridgemissonsociety.org for one of 3 talks, Friday, November 21st at 7 p.m. for adults, Saturday, November 22nd at 7 p.m. for teens, and Sunday, November 23rd also at 7 p.m. Hosted by Anchor Young Adults Group for ages 20 to 35. All talks will be held at SAG Hall located at 100-600 Archer Avenue in Lamont, Illinois, near the corner of Route 83 and Archer Avenue. There's no charge for admission, but seating is limited, so register now. Visit sagbridgemissonsociety.org.
Making the switch to a new IT services and support company may seem like a big deal, but if you're not getting the reliable support, consistent internet, and secure solutions your company needs every working day, then meet Access One, your local Chicagoland IT experts and proud new sponsor of Chicago's Morning Answer. These are the guys you want to talk to. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for more than 30 years from their headquarters in the West Loop. They are local and in tune with Chicago businesses. Whether it's voice over IP phones, dedicated internet, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One is here for you and your business. They serve thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore. Access One is Chicago-owned and Chicago-run, a trusted IT partner for law firms, clinics, tech startups, and manufacturers. They'll make the switch for you easier than you think. Call them today to discuss your business needs and tell them I sent you. When you do, that number 1-800-654-1555. Again, 1-800-654-1555. Or visit them online at access1inc.com. That's access, the number 1 spelled out, accessone inc.com. Access One, tech made personal locally. Let me take a moment to talk about my friends at QC Kinetics. They're helping so many listeners regain their mobility free from joint pain. Does this sound like you? Where every time you move, it's a reminder of what hurts? A reminder of how far you've drifted from the life you once had? Well, relief is closer than you think, and it doesn't have to come from surgery. At QC Kinetics, Dr. Caravelli and her team tap into your body's own regenerative power using natural healing factors that help restore and repair damaged tissue, reduce inflammation, and relieve pain at its source. Stop masking the pain. Let QC Kinetics help you regain what pain took away. And this Veterans Day, QC Kinetics is giving back to our heroes. Veterans will get $500 off their treatment. And for every non-veteran who starts care, QC Kinetics will donate $500 to the Wounded Warrior Project. It's a great time to book your free consultation to learn how QC Kinetics can help. Call 312-827-6261. That's 312-827-6261. Once more, that phone number, 312-827-6261, and tell them I sent you when you call.
Did the Protestant Reformation suffer a premature death? Absolutely, argues the riveting book, Reviving the Reformation by Dr. Daniel Lang. The book of Acts chapter 21 verse 20 reports that myriads or tens of thousands of Jewish believers dwelled in Jerusalem, and they were all zealous for the Torah. Their leaders were guiding the early Messianic faith. 40 years after the death of Jesus, however, the Jews revolted against Rome. This rebellion caused a Roman hammer to crush Israel, destroying the temple and Jerusalem. Following this devastation, the leadership of the Jerusalem church fell into other hands. Reviving the Reformation recovers the lost first-century Messianic faith. It answers the most difficult questions that some dare not ask about traditional Christianity. Buy Reviving the Reformation on Amazon. For a deep discount, purchase the book securely from the author at revivingthereformation.com. That's revivingthereformation.com. And like Reviving the Reformation on Facebook. With biblical faith fading fast in Western culture, now is the time to restore the truth by reviving the Reformation.
Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Huber. During cold and flu season, a nearby cough or sneeze can trigger a familiar dread, that helpless feeling of being defenseless against an invisible viral threat. But what if you could change the narrative? What if you could fortify your body's natural defenses? This is why I developed Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail designed to give your body the upper hand. Virago is more than a supplement. It's a revolutionary liquid formula packed with 23 powerful natural nutraceuticals for rapid absorption. This unique blend is scientifically crafted to help build resilience and keep you protected. Don't just hope for good health. Make it happen with Virago. Virago and Maha, making America healthy again.
Virago. Order your bottle today online at myvirago.com and use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. myvirago.com. Coupon code IMMUNE.
Even with a ceasefire now in place, the people of Israel continue to pray for healing from the deep wounds of terrorism and war, pain that touches every person in the Holy Land. But the journey to healing and restoration has only just begun, and it's far from over. Never has the bridge between Christians and Jews been tested as it is now, and ever since October 7th. But after 2 years of prayer and tangible acts of love, that bridge stands stronger than ever before. God is miraculously fulfilling his plan to unite Christians and Jews for his divine purpose. These are prophetic times, I believe that, and together with the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we can take part. United, we can do the holy work of providing food for the hungry, care for the elderly, and healing for the wounded. Your prayers and support help restore hope and strength throughout Israel. Let us answer this call together and be a light in the darkness. If you want to learn more, visit ifcj.org. That's ifcj.org.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up at 7:37, all things Illinois policy and a little bit of politics with wirepoints.org's Mark Lennon, including something we haven't talked about yet, but the euthanasia legislation that was passed by the General Assembly and goes to Governor Jelly Belly's desk. The right to die comes to Illinois. We'll include that in our conversation with Mark Lennon at 7:37. Now we check the headlines.
Good morning, 44 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm John Cruz in the Goldilocks newsroom. Partly sunny with winds in the afternoon, high of 61. Former Vice President Dick Cheney has died. In a statement, his family says Cheney died last night due to complications of pneumonia and cardiac vascular disease. Cheney served as the youngest White House Chief of Staff under President Ford, representing Wyoming. He was also Secretary of Defense under President George H.W. Bush and later served 2 terms as VP under President George W. Bush. Dick Cheney, 84 years old. A judge this morning set to hear about conditions inside the Broadview ICE facility. There is a class action lawsuit alleging inhumane treatment of detainees. In response, DHS says those accusations are false. The hearing set for 9:30. And a big concert announcement for the Illinois State Fair. Country star Lainey Wilson is the first headliner to be announced for the grand stage next August. Wilson is the first of many who will be revealed to perform at the State Fair. Tickets for her performance go on sale at 10 a.m. Saturday. News is a service of Goldilocks, offering Chicagoland state-of-the-art smart security systems to protect your home or business. AM 560 listeners receive 3 months of monitoring free with new installs. Get peace of mind by calling Goldilocks at 708-889-5600. Again, that's 708-889-5600. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Mike Gallagher sees a party in free fall.
Eric Swalwell now says that he wants a pledge from any 2028 Democrat presidential candidate that he or she will promise to demolish Trump's ballroom. I'm not making this up. Let's just stipulate that the Democrats are in a free fall right now.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
It's Reveille. Because they have complete power in Illinois and believe that there will be no retribution at the ballot box, potty-mouthed Governor Pritzker, who told all Trump supporters to F off, and his Democrat supermajorities passed more bad ideas out of the bad idea factory in Springfield, a phrase I borrowed from State Rep Chris Miller. In less than 2 days, the Democrats raised taxes by $10 billion, gave complete control over decisions regarding energy to an unelected board appointed by the governor, raided the road fund to bail out Chicago Transit pensions, passed assisted suicide, and much more. To put some finer points on what happened, here are a few specifics. An estimated $2 billion in fund sweeps and new taxes will be used for transit operations. The new money will come from tolls on passenger cars, which will increase by 45 cents, truck tolls, which increase by 30%, and both of these fees rising automatically based on inflation. In addition, sales taxes in Cook and the Collier counties will increase by 1/4 cent, and the interest on the road fund and a transfer of 5% of motor fuel taxes will now go to transit. This all adds up to over $2 billion. Interestingly, the Chicago and suburban transit leaders had initially only asked for $771 million in assistance. And just 2 days before the vote on the massive transit bailout, the chairman of the RTA, Kirk Dillard, penned an op-ed saying they really only needed $200 million. But of course, they got everything they wanted and more. Note that no savings, efficiencies, or verified improvements were demanded in the transit bill. Transit effectively got a blank check, and so did the green energy fanatics. Additional wind, solar, batteries, and transmission will suck $8 billion from ratepayers with no promise to lower energy costs. What really happened is what always happens in Springfield. Democrats caved to special interests and left the taxpayers in the cold. This will continue until the people of this state vote the bums out. I'm Jeannie Ives. Join me on Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. and sign up for my newsletter at breakthrough-ideas.com.
Let me take a moment to talk about my friends at QC Kinetics. They're helping so many listeners regain their mobility free from joint pain. Does this sound like you? Where every time you move, it's a reminder of what hurts? A reminder of how far you've drifted from the life you once had? Well, relief is closer than you think, and it doesn't have to come from surgery. At QC Kinetics, Dr. Caravelli and her team tap into your body's own regenerative power using natural healing factors that help restore and repair damaged tissue, reduce inflammation, and relieve pain at its source. Stop masking the pain. Let QC Kinetics help you regain what pain took away. And this Veterans Day, QC Kinetics is giving back to our heroes. Veterans will get $500 off their treatment. And for every non-veteran who starts care, QC Kinetics will donate $500 to the Wounded Warrior Project. It's a great time to book your free consultation to learn how QC Kinetics can help. Call 312-827-6261. That's 312-827-6261. Once more, that phone number, 312-827-6261, and tell them I sent you when you call.
Protect your liver and give it the support it deserves with Active Liver from New Nordic. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or at newnordicusa.com.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. Watch out, you got a flipped over car on 57 on the northbound side. It's on the exit ramp to get onto the westbound side of 80, so that is going to slow you down. The Kennedy inbound from O'Hare to the Burnt Interchange, 37 minutes, a 30-minute outbound delay. It's going to cost you 54 minutes. The Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the old post office is 30 minutes, outbound is 24. Inbound Stevenson from the Tri-State to Lakeshore is 39, outbound is 22. The Dan Ryan is 23 minutes inbound from 95th to the Burn Interchange, looking good on the outbound side at 11. This report is sponsored by Macy's Backstage. Macy's Backstage is a whole department inside your Macy's store where you'll find everything you need for the holidays, all for under $35. With new arrivals every day, you never know what amazing deals you'll find. Don't wait. Find a location at Macy'sBackstage.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today will be partly sunny and pleasant with a high of 62. Expect gusty winds that may move unsecured objects and decorations. Tonight will be clear and breezy with a low of 50. Tomorrow brings partly sunny skies, breezy conditions, and pleasant weather with a high of 59. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Insert Democrat socialist here.
Runs the Democratic House floor for 30 plus years running. He's promising this and he's stealing that. Where can you get that kind of money? He's using your house like his own piggy bank. You ought to know by now. You can pay off your house here in Illinois, but you can never keep up with the taxes. Oh, how it's always been the plan to have a taxpayer pay, no doubt. Not a matter of if anymore, but when you're moving out. I said, when you're moving out.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft. That theme music means it's time for our weekly conversation about all things Illinois policy related with the WirePoints gang, wirepoints.org. And before we get to Mark Glennon, the founder of WirePoints, the response from Governor Jelly Belly to his performative profanity caught up with him, did Sheriff Schulte from ABC7 yesterday. You know, Governor, speaking to all those teachers who cheered the use of the F word because they're such intellectual heavyweights, by the way. Speaking at IFT, of course, it's now made the rounds. This is what Pritzker, off the cuff, not scripted, not contrived. How dare you? The moral indignation just welled up within him. He could no longer control himself and conduct himself in the dignified manner you've come used to expecting from Governor Spalding.
They want to criminalize educators for supporting LGBTQ students. They want to turn classrooms into cultural war battlegrounds. And I'm sorry to be vulgar, but Donald Trump and his cronies can all the way off.
Oh, no, he didn't! And then a little tear streamed down Stacey Davis Gates' cheek. He's become a real boy. So he was asked about that yesterday. Governor, please. The children are listening. What about the children?
It was a feeling I had in that moment, and frankly, I think all the limits are off with Donald Trump as president in terms of what our reactions are to what he has to say. He uses that word.
Mm-hmm. He uses that word so I can. And if he ran off a cliff, I would too. People that look at him as anything other than a figure of derision, they entertain me. How soft-minded they are. Sarah Schulte adding.
Even though he was reading from a speech, Pritzker said the word is the first thing that came to his mind because he was so upset about what he calls Trump's abuse of public education students.
Of course. Don't think for a second that was canned. That they had worked for days to prep it. Just so he could appear like he's a street-level guy to all the friends he's currently renting like Stacey Davis Gates. And all those teachers that she and he represent. Every single teacher listening who's a member of IFT, you're well represented with JB and Stacey Davis Gates. JB and SDG. JB and BJ and SDG and the whole crew. Mark Glennon joins us now, founder of WirePoints.org. Mark, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan. Thank you.
Care to comment on Pritzker's dangerous dalliance with profanity?
Yeah, well, what an appalling way to conduct political discourse. And to teachers, is this the kind of dialogue that we're trying to teach kids to have to resolve political issues? It's just appalling. People don't like this stuff, whether it comes from Trump or anybody else.
Trump did it. Trump did it, though. Wait. Trump did it. So I mean, it's like adjudicating a dispute on a playground. But Trump did it. Trump did it first. Mr. Glennon, Trump did it first.
Trump, and then they replicate, the things they say they don't like. You know what's also potentially, I think, even worse is his justification for this yesterday, where he said all limits are off with Donald Trump in defending his language. Well, we should have known that that's really his strategy for a long time. He lies so habitually and so consistently about everything. That's been a strategy from the beginning, that it just doesn't matter, and that's why charges about hypocrisy or lying or anything else really don't matter to the left, because they think they've got righteousness on their side. All limits are off, as Pritzker said. That's exactly what they're doing.
Oh, yeah. ICE agents are terrorists. ICE agents are racist. They're targeting people based on the color of their skin. And these are things they say just matter-of-factly on a daily basis. Trump is sending in the National Guard as a prep to seize ballot boxes next year and steal the election in Chicago. I mean, normally, in a sane Chicagoland, that would be treated like, who is this crank that we elected governor? But it just goes sort of uncommented upon, generally speaking.
Yeah. This is the federal law. I mean, maybe I'm thinking too much like a lawyer, but what happened to the rule of law that these guys always talk about? You know, if you think ICE is going too far on some things, well, there are legal remedies for that. Pursue them. But ICE is entitled to enforce the immigration laws that we've had long before Trump appeared on the scene. They're trying to do that. Let those things play out. That's the way we used to do things in America. But I guess everything about America is off the table now.
Well, the other thing, though, this serves is to distract attention away from the policy implications of what's being done in Springfield and codified by said governor. You wrote about the electricity hike that's coming. You just heard on the news the bailout of public transit in Chicago passed under the cover of darkness in the veto session by the General Assembly last week. Right to die legislation that even has some of the medical professional associations concerned. I mean, all this stuff just is flushed as we all go back and forth about the toilet boy using his potty mouth.
Yeah, I hope people heard that little summary that Jeannie Ives just did about the numbers. Probably $2 billion in new taxes, regressive taxes, sales taxes, tolls, raiding the road fund, which is hurts downstate communities especially, without one reform, not one thing to address cost cutting. And the real problem, of course, with transit in Chicago is that the ridership is off 35-40% since 2019. Have they adjusted schedules to match that? No. In fact, it's off 60% since 2012. And they just keep going, and as if the world hasn't changed, and spending whatever it takes to keep that schedule they have.
The electricity piece, you did a deeper dive on the Clean and Reliable Grid Affordability Act. Well, that sounds great, according to the title. I want clean and reliable grid and affordability. So what does it actually contain that we should know?
All right, now bear with me in this because this really gets ridiculous. So we've got rates going up because of the mandates and subsidies that we put in place for renewable energy, wind and solar. Politicians are feeling the heat on this. This is a very hot-button issue now, especially downstate. So what do? They say, well, we will be able to get lower rates if wind and solar is made more reliable by imposing a new line item in your bill to pay for batteries to attach to the grid to store the energy, and that helps lower the charges that are assessed by the grid operators and such. Well, they're just swapping one charge to another. It's a bailout that you're going to have to pay to bail out the consequences of this crazy energy policy that we've had. And what really bears some discussion is how it pertains to one of our least favorite subsidized companies in Illinois, which is Gotion, the Chinese company. Of course, they killed the sister project over in Michigan entirely, thank God. But ours is continuing on its way. They're supposed to make lithium batteries for EVs as part of our grand electrical vehicle strategy. Well, Gotion has figured out that, EVs aren't really selling very well. This is a big mistake. So we're going to start making the batteries for that electrical grid thing. So the Gotion, subsidized by $536 million from Illinois taxpayers, a Chinese company connected to the Chinese Communist Party, is now going to be selling to the subsidized buyers of these electrical grid batteries.
And wait, I started to remember, so the subsidies on the front end and the subsidies in the medium slot are going to translate on the back end to savings for Illinois taxpayers. How does that work?
How does that work is right. It doesn't work. You're adding batteries onto a botch system. It's not going to work. The cost of this is minimum $7 billion. Other estimates go $8 billion. We really don't know. Most importantly, in this bill, there are no caps on how much it will cost. At least in the initial green energy bill we had, there were supposed caps, weak ones. It was something, but now there's no caps. I mean, so whatever it takes is what it's going to cost.
It's like how we send $600 million in taxpayer funds to U of I, which essentially subsidizes the tuition, and then tuition goes down for Illinois residents who say, oh, no, wait, it doesn't. Then tuition continues to go up because we're subsidizing it. So we're subsidizing two steps in this process, and they're going to tell us that some nominal rate reduction produces a savings when, in fact, if you include the inputs, which we pay for, and then the output, I mean, there's no chance, and as you say, there's no cap on it. So there's no chance you're going to get hit instead of one way on just a simple, straightforward rate hike. You're going to get hit three ways.
you're going to pay more. You got it. And and there's one other interesting thing here. Actually, Gotion is selling some batteries to electric vehicle makers. They got 2 customers, Volkswagen, and guess who? Rivian, our other great subsidized company here, that is lying to get $800 million from the state of Illinois. They're struggling for their life. They're in line to lose $2 billion this year. Sales are plummeting. Our great central planners just keep piling one subsidized company on top of another, leaning against each other, hoping this is all going to work out. It's all going to fall down.
And the bailout of Chicago Transit, what does that accomplish? I mean, it doesn't. Just because you underwrite with more money, you underwrite the adults who have jobs in the system, doesn't mean riders come back. Doesn't mean that you're going to generate any more revenue. All you've done is put paper over the structural, effectively bankruptcy of the system. So then we're going to be back here again next year, particularly as long as transit systems like the CTA are largely unsafe.
That's right. There was a standard in effect for a long time that transit authorities tried to get 50% of their revenue from the fare box. That's down to 25% in this new bill. And, the out-year deficits that are still projected for the local transit authority are still there. So we're going to have the same problem going forward. I don't see any real solution to this. As I say, the fundamental problem is that people don't take it anymore because of crime and because of work from home, and they just haven't adjusted the schedule. And by the way, that downstate communities, they got their own transit authorities. They're hurt too. They got squeezed out of this. They don't get this kind of bailout. So it's the Illinois Democrats, the Cook County Democrats, looting the system once again to patch over a problem.
We could use it. We really could use this another shutdown and federal bailout. Maybe somebody's going to have to invent a pandemic or something. Maybe that would do the trick. Buy us a little bit more time. Get that funny money flowing again to paper over all the structural infirmities in Illinois. Mark Lennon is the founder of WirePoints, wirepoints.org, all things Illinois policy related. Thanks, Mark.
My pleasure. Thank you, Dan.
And Mark Lennon joined us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Welcome to another edition of Tuesdays with Tim, where we talk all things retirement. I'm here with my friend Tim Stearns, a certified financial planner with TJ Stearns Financial Planning in Arlington Heights. Tim, what are the biggest expenses listeners will face in retirement? And please explain the process you take to address these expenses.
Well, Dan, most people think it's healthcare, and it is one of them. But the number one expense in retirement is actually taxes, and that needs to be addressed. Most people have put their money year after year in their tax-deferred accounts like 401ks and IRAs, and they have basically deferred their taxes for a long time. But they've created a tax time bomb, and they don't know it. And that's why we offer the Tax Impact Report.
Tim, so many of us lack a retirement tax plan. For your clients and customers, how do you help map out a tax plan in retirement?
Well, we start with a Tax Impact Report. Most people know how much money they saved for retirement, but they have no idea how much they'll be paying in taxes throughout their retirement. We will run them a report that shows if they default to the IRS's plan, what they will pay in taxes, or they can get ahead of it and mitigate those taxes by being proactive in their tax planning rather than reactive.
Tim, you advertise a complimentary risk assessment report of our listeners' portfolio. Explain what that is, what it reveals, and how AM 560 listeners can sign up for this report.
Dan, we found that many of our listeners do not understand how much risk they have in their underlying portfolio. The strong stock market has made investors lackadaisical in their approach to risk in their hard-earned portfolios. We can ascertain how much risk is actually in their portfolio, and most importantly, show them tools that can help mitigate that risk.
Thank you, Tim. If you're in your 50s or 60s, I want you to speak with my friend Tim Stearns. Tim will help you structure and optimize your savings to prepare for 20 to 30 years of enjoyable retirement. Call Tim today to schedule your free consultation and get your free risk report. That's 1-800-640-2256. Again, that's 800-640-2256. Tell him I sent you when you call 800-640-2256.
Our veterans are our heroes. They answered the call to defend our freedom, putting their lives on the line for our nation. But today, thousands of those brave men and women are facing something no hero should ever face: food insecurity. That's where Farm to Veteran comes in. Through the Fulcrum Farm Foundation, this remarkable organization delivers farm fresh, nutritious food directly to veterans in need through veteran services and organizations. From greenhouse-grown produce to eggs, they're ensuring our heroes have access to the high-quality food they deserve. But Farm to Veteran can't do it alone. They need our help. Your financial contribution directly supports their mission to feed more veterans across their growing network of partner farms nationwide. And there's another way you can make a difference. Join them at their upcoming community events. Visit farmtoveteran.com today. That's farm2veteran.com to donate or learn about events near you. Because those who served our country shouldn't have to wonder where their next meal is coming from. Let's stand with those who stood for us. That's farm2veteran.com.
Don't miss In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr., now heard on Sunday mornings at 7:30. Tune in and find hope as Jim Scudder explores God's Word and His world each Sunday morning right here on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Jerry Boyer for Townhall.com. The tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk has sparked a wave of engagement from conservative shareholders of MasterCard, Alphabet, PayPal, Salesforce, Meta, Amazon, Texas Instruments, Starbucks, and others. Kirk's organization, Turning Point USA, has been listed on the Southern Poverty Law Center's hate map, and the SPLC's rhetoric has now been linked to multiple acts of violence. Conservative investors are pushing back. The Heritage Foundation and portfolio manager David Bunsen are leading these proposals, demanding that these companies stop using SPLC data to guide policy. The message is clear. The vague and politicized narrative is bad business. If you own stock in or use these companies, speak up. Vote your shares. The SPLC doesn't speak for corporate America or its shareholders. Political neutrality isn't just fair, it's smart business. I'm Jerry Boyer.
Honey, why does it take you so long to get ready?
Because I've got one tiny sink. I'm trying to balance makeup on the back of the toilet, and the mirror's always fogged up.
Sounds like a circus act.
Exactly. And I perform every morning.
At Forever Remodeling, we create bathrooms that fit your life, not the other way around. From extra storage to spa-like showers and timeless finishes, we make your mornings easier. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com.
Take the journey of living a happy, successful, and meaningful life through God. Listen to It's Time with Dan Lights, Sunday mornings at 9 on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life. AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up at 8:08, is it finally the time where I can go shopping for a humanoid? And if so, should I go Neo? Should I go Optimus? Something else? The era of the humanoid is upon us, I believe. Perfect stocking stuffer. Actually, a perfect attendant to stuff your stockings for you. Tongue twister. We're going to talk to computer science professor Tom Williams at 8:08 about this very topic. It is now 8 o'clock at AM 560 WIND Chicago.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Kathleen Maloney. Former Vice President Dick Cheney has died due to complications of pneumonia as well as cardiac and vascular disease. He was 84. In 2004, Cheney accepted his party's vice presidential nomination at the Republican National Convention in New York City.
Mr. Chairman, delegates, distinguished guests and fellow Americans, I accept your nomination for Vice President of the United States.
Cheney is considered one of the most influential but polarizing VPs in U.S. history. Former President Bush says history will remember him as among the finest public servants of his generation. Voters are going to the polls today in the first major election since President Trump regained the White House. He's voicing support for candidates in several races, including New York City's mayoral contest.
President Donald Trump took to Truth Social yesterday, writing in part, quote, "Whether you personally like Andrew
Andrew Cuomo or not, you really have no choice. The self-described Democratic socialist Zohran Mamdani told supporters he'd known for months Trump's endorsement of Cuomo was coming. Former Governor Andrew Cuomo, running as an independent, has tried to court conservatives and moderates while also staying in the good graces of Democrats. And Republican candidate Curtis Sliwa said during his last campaign trail blitz that the president could say what he wants. He's trusting the people to decide.
Fox's CB Cotton. A large number of early ballots have already been cast in the New York City mayoral election. Voters in New Jersey facing some disruptions at the polls.
The polls have been open throughout New Jersey since about 6 a.m. Since then, a handful of bomb threats have been called in to a number of polling places across the Garden State. We know in Mercer County, as well as where we have seen in Passaic. It's unclear exactly how many of these polling places have been impacted.
Fox's Mark Meredith. New Jersey voters are choosing their next governor. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 42 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm John Cruz in the AlmostFreeTeeth.com newsroom. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds today, high of 61, dry the rest of the week. A Lake County man in federal custody after making threats to kill President Trump. 57-year-old Trent Schneider was taken into custody without incident Monday morning after a joint operation with the U.S. Secret Service and SWAT team in Lake County. Schneider posted an Instagram video on October 16th saying Trump should be executed. He then told a judge on Monday the charges were fraud. Schneider has a court hearing on Thursday. 2 people killed in a crash in Chicago's Bridgeport neighborhood have been identified. A red sedan lost control Sunday night near Rate Field, crossing the median, and struck a black SUV. The 2 killed in the sedan were identified as 24-year-old Juliana Yamilet Rolon and 21-year-old Natalia Andrea Mendez. The driver and passenger of the SUV were taken to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. That investigation continues. A Democratic congressman who represents Illinois' 4th congressional district will not be seeking re-election. Jesse Chuy Garcia will finish out his term. The 69-year-old congressman's chief of staff, Patty Garcia, filed petitions with the Illinois State Board to run for his seat on Monday, which was the deadline. This is a developing story. We'll be following this through the morning and bring you more on air and online. Police looking for a man suspected of stealing drugs from pharmacies on Chicago's north side. Authorities released a photo of the individual they say targeted several pharmacies during October, and each crime, police say the suspect would enter the store, jump the counter, and take bottles of narcotics. The last crime was October 24th in the 1500 block of West Devon Avenue. And Chicago's getting this year's official Christmas tree from a family in suburban Glenview. Crews are busy cutting the tree late Monday before bringing it to Millennium Park later this week. The 68-foot Norway spruce will be on display during the lighting ceremony on November 21st. The tree will stay in place through early January. Big savings on full mouth dental implants are here at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Medical insurance can make what used to cost a fortune surprisingly affordable. Don't wait. Take the 60-second quiz to see if you qualify at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of your roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The Pizza Hut chain could be getting new owners. Yum Brands, owner of Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, and KFC, says it's evaluating strategic options for the business. Pizza Hut has been struggling. Yum CEO Chris Turner has said Pizza Hut may need more resources outside of Yum Brands to succeed. Restaurant chain Denny's has been sold and will become a private company. 3 investment firms purchased the business. The investors also own P.F. Chang's and TGI Fridays. Denny's stock has declined by approximately a third this year because of slowing sales. Starbucks is selling 60% of its business in China to a local investment firm, Boyu Capital. Norwegian Cruise Line shares down nearly 8%, even though it reported higher sales for the summer quarter. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Coselda, invested in you.
Scott Jennings sees more pressure on the Democrats.
Major political problems for Democrats. The country's largest union representing federal workers is calling for Congress to pass a clean, continuing resolution to get the government open again and to get federal workers paid. This will ratchet pressure up on the Democrats to perhaps give in.
The Scott Jennings Show. Weekdays at 1, right before Hugh Hewitt at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicagoland traffic. The Ike, the Stevenson, the dreaded 294. You sitting in traffic is not time well spent. Time is money.
Oh, come on, man. What's the slowdown for?
Especially when you're trying to do your own company deliveries.
What is happening up there? I got things to deliver.
But instead of sitting there getting more and more frustrated,
Please, can we go any slower?
you could be back at the shop getting work done.
I should have stayed at work and actually worked.
Get Quick Delivery Service to battle the traffic for you. They'll make your deliveries while you get other things done. Quick Delivery Service makes it easy. No forms, no labels, no scanning. They'll deliver large pallets of materials to important documents. Simply tell Quick Delivery Service where it's going. They'll pick it up and get it to your destination quickly. Plus, your deliveries are tracked with real-time GPS notifications. Visit quickdelivery.com and stay out of traffic.
Oh no, this exit's closed?
Call now for a free quote. 847-534-2244 or go to quickdelivery.com.
If you're looking for a watch that makes a statement, Roland's Jewelers in downtown Libertyville has the perfect timepiece for you. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. Roland's carries my favorite watch brand, Tag Heuer. Tag Heuer is all about precision with a sleek, bold style. And I've got a Tag Heuer watch from my friends at Roland's Jewelers. I love it. They've got a great selection of other fashion-forward watch brands like Bell & Ross, Movado, Tissot, and Michelle, or consider Roland's iconic collection of pre-owned Rolexes. Let Roland's watch specialists help you find the perfect timepiece that fits your style and have their terrific experts show you the Tag Heuer watch that I bought from Roland's. Ask for it by name. Tell them it's Mike Gallagher's watch. Visit Roland's Jewelers in downtown Libertyville or RolandsJewelers.com. That's Roland's, ROLLANDS, RolandsJewelers.com, or call them 847-918-7300. 847-918-7300. Roland's Jewelers, a family-owned jeweler you can trust, just like I do.
Feel that chill in the air? Now's the perfect time to layer up. The outerwear shop is now open at Untuckit with sharp new jackets and vests made for this season and beyond. You'll find all the right layers to keep you warm and looking sharp, including cozy sweaters, sweatshirts, and more. But hurry, fall weather won't wait, and neither should you. So don't miss the outerwear shop, open now at Untuckit.com in more than 80 stores worldwide. Untuckit, shirts designed to be worn, untucked.
This month, Pure Talk is supporting Canines for Warriors, a terrific organization that trains rescue dogs and then pairs them up with combat vets struggling with PTSD. This is why I switched to Pure Talk. Sure, I like the unlimited talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, and you will too. But you will love being in business with a company that shares your values. Dial pound 250, say micro, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. It's a big mess on 57 northbound with a flipped over semi-truck. It's on the exit ramp for Route 80. These delays, they go all the way back to Route 30. We're also completely jammed on the northbound side of Lakeshore Drive as you make your way towards Hollywood Avenue. Now, not too bad on the Eden inbound from Lake Hook to Montrose, 16 minutes. Outbound a little bit busy at 25. Very busy on the Kennedy inbound from O'Hare to the Byrne Interchange, 42 minutes. Outbound is 49. The Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 37 minutes. Outbound is 29. Now inbound Stevenson from the Tri-State to Lakeshore is 46 minutes. The exit ramp for Ashland Avenue is also shut down with construction. Outbound is 25 minutes. The Dan Ryan from 95th to the Byrne Interchange, 36 minutes. Traffic is a service of Quick Delivery Service. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today will be partly sunny and pleasant with gusty winds that may move unsecured objects and decorations. The high will reach 62. Tonight will be clear and breezy with a low of 50. Tomorrow expect partly sunny skies, breezy conditions, and pleasant weather with a high of 59. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering smart security systems to homes and businesses. Call Goldilocks at 708-889-5600.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Are we finally at the stage of life imitating art? I'm thinking of like that movie Megan from a couple of years ago. Bernd Bornich is the founder of a company called 1X Tech. And they just rolled out the intro video of a humanoid they call Neo. And it's pretty impressive. I mean, you've got Neo walking around the house. I mean, he's like life-size in terms of size. He looks like a human, thus humanoid. And he's carrying the groceries in. He's clearing the dinner table. He's putting the dishes in the dishwasher and all sorts of things. And it's like $20,000 with easy-to-make monthly installments of $499 a month to have somebody to look after you. Here was the launch video in part.
My name is Bernd, and today we're launching Neo, our humanoid for the home.
Ain't no sunshine when she's gone.
I love this song selection.
Neo is a humanoid companion designed to transform your life at home. It combines AI and advanced hardware to help with daily chores and bring intelligence into your everyday life.
When she's gone, and this house just ain't no home. Anytime she goes away.
As someone who lives with Neo every day, there is no experience quite as magic. So today, we're excited to invite you in on this journey. Pre-order your Neo today at 1x.tech.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Elon Musk has a version of this too called Optimus, and we got a little bit of a compare and contrast on Optimus versus Neo. I'm not saying this is exhaustive of the humanoids that are available, but this is where it's going. So I said $20,000 for Neo, but there's a 1X Technologies is the company name. There's a 1X Technologies employee that wearing a VR headset that peers into your living room to manually control Neo, I'm told. So that's not a robot, arguably. That's outsourced surveillance. So that's a bit of a concern. Tesla's Optimus should cost similar money, $20,000, but operates independently. It deadlifts about 150 pounds, lasts 300,000 to 500,000 miles on batteries, can assemble furniture, operate power tools, handle complex tasks. Wow. Operate power tools. Build that little 3-season room you were thinking about. Neo's expert mode reveals the weakness in every consumer robot that prioritizes cheap autonomy over real capability, this tech critic argues. If your robot cannot work without human supervision, it's not a robot, it's a puppet show with privacy costs. Optimus learns, improves, and scales. Neo needs babysitting. That's one distillation. Maybe a little bit more on the compare contrast, as well as just generally on the whole humanoids for the home. How real is this going to be? How quickly? I mean, particularly $20,000 is a lot of money. $500 is a lot of money, but it's not completely inaccessible. So are we going to start seeing these pop up when you go over to your friend's place for dinner? For more on this, please be joined by Tom Williams. He's Associate Professor of Computer Science at the Colorado School of Mines, where he directs the Mines Interactive Robots Research Lab. Professor Williams, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So, I mean, you're talking to a total layman novice here. So, the Neo versus Optimus debate that's at least going on X, is that representative of something real in terms of a stage that we're at now? And if not, what stage are we at?
Yeah, I think that actually a lot of what you talked about in terms of some of these trade-offs about autonomy and teleoperation is right on the money. I think that right now we're at a exciting but also very hype-filled moment in robotics. I've been to, just in the past year, I was at two of the largest robotics companies, and it's just humanoid, 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 humanoid. And so to some extent, these humanoid robots are real. They are here. They are coming. But to some extent, their actual capabilities are still extremely oversold. With Neo, for example, you mentioned that there is somebody behind the scenes who is remotely controlling it, teleoperating it. which I would say that is still a robot. And we see lots of robots that are remotely controlled in space robotics, et cetera. But the actual autonomous capabilities of those robots, even the ones that they say it has, are very limited. The company, for example, says that one of the capabilities that it does come with out of the box in terms of autonomy is the ability to open doors, which sounds simple, but I know robotics companies that have deployed robots into hospitals, for example, where doors are pretty standardized, and they still have to work with those hospitals to map out every single door, how it's different from the other ones, how the robot is going to open it, et cetera. And so unless the company is going to be prepared to, do that type of working with every home to figure out exactly how every single door opens, then the vision of autonomy for them, even for that very simple task, is not very close.
Well, Musk said recently of Optimus that they're finalizing the design for 3.0, and he says it's going to have the manual dexterity of a human, a very complex hand, and an AI mind that can navigate and comprehend reality. And that version is going to be made in very high volume in terms of, in terms of retail.
Yeah, I will. I'll believe it when I see it.
Okay.
I think Musk has a history, of making strong claims about his products. I will say that the technique that they're using is, from what I've heard, does make sense. So the technique they're using to train their robot is called learning from demonstration. And so through that approach, you have human demonstrators give demonstrations of how to perform various actions, and then record those, and then AI models are trained in order to capture how to perform that task. And so the reports coming out for the Optimus is they've got human workers who are there, for these long shifts, just doing repetitive tasks over and over again, clearing tables, dancing, etc. And they've got all these cameras filming them at, getting extremely high volumes of data in order to train these models. And it's possible that, we've seen that type of approach work well at learning certain skills at a small scale, and it's possible that with their resources, they're able to collect data at such a high scale that they'll be able to train effective models. But we haven't seen that work in practice at that scale yet, so it's still sort of untested territory. And it really depends on the specific types of tasks that they're trying to train it on. The sheer variety of tasks that humans are capable of is obviously, very wide and difficult to capture no matter how much training data you have. This is why, Google, even with all the resources of all the, videos on YouTube, still has difficulty, training their robotic systems. But they're at least moving in a direction that is in line with the research. So we'll see how it plays out.
Is it the situation now? I saw this comment. Maybe it was from Musk, but maybe it was somebody else in tech. But regardless, this comment was the conversation was about self-driving cars, and the comment was essentially, "We're pretty good at making good self-driving cars. Making the technology, the self-driving car is good. It's very difficult to make it great in terms of the operability, in terms of the self-driving feature." Just because of sort of what you were saying is, all of the variables that occur when you're driving, it's hard to sort of contemplate and prep for, merging in a complicated, traffic environment where maybe there's not clear lines of demarcation of the lanes and things like that. So it's easy to get to good. It's difficult to get to great. Is that where we are sort of with humanoids too?
To some extent, yes. Although I think with humanoids, it's even more difficult. The rules of, following the road and following lanes is relatively straightforward compared to just moving around in a home and perceiving objects and being able to reasonably pick them up, etc. And so if you're designing a robot that is, the equivalent of an assembly line robot, where it is performing the same tasks in the same location in a clean environment, whether that is in a factory or whether that's in a home, like loading a dishwasher, for example, that is quite different from if you're expecting the robot to be able to navigate an entire home that's full of clutter, different objects, etc., and be able to reasonably engage with it. And that's especially true if you're talking about a robot that people are going to interact with through language in the home. This is something that my lab deals with, the problem of robots understanding and generating language referring to real-world objects in the environment. And it's complicated just because of the incredible, the sheer scope of how many objects there are in the home, how similar those objects are to each other, and the fact that people will regularly talk about objects that might not exist, or the descriptions they give might not be accurate, etc. And so,
right.
I think, again, if we're in a very clean, controlled environment, then that good versus great metaphor holds up. If we're in a much more free-form environment, I don't think we're even at good yet.
And then you get in a fight with the humanoid. The humanoid goes to his room, slams the door, and says, "You make your own dinner." And then it just the relationship devolves from there, I suppose. So you're talking about in a factory setting, though, and again, still with robotics. So much talk about this new Blue Jay system that's coming online in the Amazon warehouses over the next couple of years. That's supposed to displace 600,000 Amazon warehouse workers. So that's more of a system that you were describing before: clean environment, repetitive tasks, and so forth. Mm-hmm. But does the technology used in a system like Blue Jay, does it have applicability for something that is autonomous, like one of these humanoids in the home?
I haven't seen the details of Blue Jay. Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Well, I just was thinking, like, do systems that are used, like in Amazon warehouses, that are going to displace like 500,000 workers, they say, does the technology associated with what's going on at a place like Amazon then have applicability for the humanoids in the home?
It really depends. When you're in a warehouse environment, the ways that you can build robots are completely different. So one of the advantages that Amazon has had in their warehouses, for example, right, is that they're able to completely subvert the expectations around robots, where normally you would assume, like if you're directly replacing, a worker, that the robot would be humanoid and it would go and move through the aisles, retrieve something from the warehouse, bring it back, etc. Whereas the model for most warehouse robots is sort of the opposite, where it's these small mobile robots that are just a base driving around. They go underneath the shelves, pop up to put the shelves into the air, and then they bring the entire shelf to the human. So that the human can pick things off the shelves, right? And so that's a model you can use in the warehouse because you're designing the entire space that doesn't really translate to the home. Now, companies like Amazon, though, what they're trying to do now is, of course, remove that last mile. Say, well, we've been relying on humans to pick and place things off, in that last mile off of those mobile shelves. And so that type of capability, if that's what they're going for, then yes, that would translate into the home.
So with respect, go ahead. I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, the other thing to note here is that, like, when we're talking about these robots replacing people in these warehouses, the actual effects of that, we can look back at the history of automation and we'll probably see something similar, which is that, yes, to some extent, we're talking about robots replacing people's jobs, but to some extent, we're talking about robots changing the jobs of existing people in those warehouses.
Right.
So, like when the very first robots were deployed into GM factories, yes, it did result in a lot of workers being replaced, but the larger effect was the effect it had on the workers who were already there. The automation essentially was used to force them to work harder and faster and for less money. And so, yes, we will probably see these robots, replacing workers in the factories, but we will probably also see them being used in a way that degrades the labor conditions for the remaining workers who are still there working in the factories.
So just going back to the prospect of humanoids in the home, then, I mean, what I'm gathering from you is maybe not something you want to run out and get for the home this Christmas. So you maybe give this a little bit more time for more advanced versions to develop before we jump in here.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not sure how many people really,
or if you want to jump in, yeah, right.
But to do so anyways, right? I think, to some extent, these robots are really still, even though the price has come down massively, we're still talking about essentially toys for rich people, right? And even if they do become affordable, as you sort of alluded to at the beginning, there's a hidden cost of surveillance that to some extent these robots, even if they're not terribly successful, they're being used as a tool for the companies to gather data inside the homes, videotaping your homes and collecting the data about what's in your home and what it looks like in order to train their systems later. And in the meantime, not only is somebody watching, but you have to think about that person on the other end and what their experience is as well. I think there actually is a really strong motivator around humanoid robots in the home when it comes to like elder care.
Yeah, exactly.
And helping people age, with dignity and age in place. But like my mom is a care worker, right? And I know that a lot of the value she gets out of that job is spending time with the people she's caring for and really connecting with them. And so you have to think about the experience of the care worker whose job is now moved entirely, essentially over Zoom, over a video call, where they're seeing their care, the environment of the person that they're caring for. And they're doing tasks in that environment, but not really able to connect. And you have to ask, is that really care anymore?
Yeah, right. Well, and then the same thing from the client perspective, too. If you can't interact with your caregiver, I mean, is that, so no, there's a lot of unanswered questions. I was just sort of, trying to get a handle on where you thought the technology was, and you gave us a good handle. Tom Williams is an associate professor of computer science at the Colorado School of Mines, where he directs the Mines Interactive Robotics Research Lab. Professor Williams, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Business owners, now's the time for your business to make the move to a locally owned business bank. Hi, Mike Gallagher here to let you know that you don't have to look far. Signature Bank was founded in Chicago with a simple mission to help companies like yours grow, succeed, and thrive. Their decisions are made locally by a terrific team that knows your name, cares about your business, and invests in your success. That's why Signature Bank is my bank. I'm a customer. As business owners, they knew that local family-owned businesses were not getting the help they needed or deserved. So I invite you to reach out to my friends at Signature Bank today. Write the number down. Remember this phone number, Signature Bank, 773-467-5630, and learn all about this great bank, 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. That's signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank makes commercial banking personal. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
This is an urgent announcement for anyone that's $10,000 or more in debt. Before you make another minimum payment, you need to know there are special programs that can completely free you of your debt. Total Financial Freedom can help you become debt-free in months instead of years. Resolve your credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and timeshares. Call now at 800-533-6605 for a free consultation. For 17 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands Americans get out of debt. You can feel confident when calling because Total Financial Freedom is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and a Christian-owned company. Don't get stuck in the endless cycle of payments. You have the right to get your debt resolved and substantially reduce your monthly payments. Call Christian-owned Total Financial Freedom now at 800-533-6605. That's 800-533-6605. 800-533-6605.
Perhaps you're a collector, or perhaps all of a sudden you have a collection. Maybe it's an inheritance. How do you know what it's worth? This is Sean Thompson for Donley Auction. The market for antiques and collectibles is changing all the time. What is your collection worth right now? Well, I've got an easy way to find out. It's simple. You contact Donley Auctions. With their worldwide audience of live and in-person auctions, they have a good idea of how to tell you exactly what it's worth at exactly right now. They're ready to put top dollar in your pocket. The bigger the collection, the better. Go to DonleyAuctions.com and get the info on all things that they buy and sell to have an idea of exactly what Donley does and how much they need your collection. They have so many buyers, it's a great time to sell. Just simply make a phone call. Donley has traveled all over the country to pick up collections. Just call and talk to the people at Donley Auctions at 815-923-7000. Donley Auctions is your trusted partner in turning your collections into cash. DonleyAuctions.com.
When the power goes out, life stops. Heat, AC, fridge, phones, all gone. But with a Generac home standby generator from True Power Generator Service, your home powers back on automatically, so you're never left in the dark. Book your consultation today at TruePowerGenerator.com. That's TruePowerGenerator.com. Plus, 560 listeners get a free 10-year extended warranty. Terms and conditions apply. Call for details. True Power Generator Service and Generac. It's not just a generator, it's a power move.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up at 8:38 on our latest installment of Why Dan Proft is Single. The new TikTok account that's all the rage. Man on the street interviews asking the question, will men ever change? 8:38, now we check the headline.
Good morning, 44 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm John Cruz in the Air Right Heating and Cooling newsroom. Mainly sunny, breezy, and 60 today. The 46th Vice President of the U.S., Dick Cheney, has died. In a statement, the former VP died late Monday with his wife, daughters, and family members by his side. Dick Cheney was 84. A $6,000 reward being offered for info leading to the arrest of suspects involved in a violent carjacking in the Bridgeport neighborhood. Ting Chui was approached by a man with a gun Friday, took his keys, phone, and wallet. Police found the vehicle 5 miles away on the near west side and are still looking for those two suspects. And a Chicago area woman who was stranded in Jamaica due to Hurricane Melissa without access to her life-saving medication, now back home. Trinette Britt, who is a kidney transplant recipient, is chief of staff for the South Suburban Rich Township Supervisor Calvin Jordan. Elected officials worked with the State Department to find a Jamaican doctor to get her that much-needed medication. News is a service of Air Right Heating and Cooling, offering AM 560 listeners $56 off any service, including inspections, or take advantage of limited-time federal rebates on a new furnace. Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. We're checking roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
How crazy things were before Trump.
What Special Prosecutor Jack Smith was trying to do before the election ended what he was doing. Whistleblower has turned over evidence of 197 subpoenas that went out from Jack Smith. In other words, you had a maniac running the investigation appointed by Merrick Garland with no oversight. A maniac.
The Hugh Hewitt Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you tired of tech headaches slowing your business down? Unique Computing Solutions has been the go-to IT team for businesses in Illinois and Northwest Indiana for nearly 30 years. Your systems should be running smoothly, your data secured, and your communications streamlined. Visit our website today at uniquecomputingsolutions.com. That's uniquecomputingsolutions.com. uniquecomputingsolutions.com. Your IT challenges solved.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Anthony and John here from Bionic Auto Parts, proud clients of Signature Bank. We deliver high-quality, recycled and remanufactured auto parts to Chicago and Milwaukee. Our mission is simple: provide parts safely, reliably, with great customer satisfaction.
We process over 350 vehicles a month. With big banks, everything took forever. Layers of approvals and endless delays. At Signature Bank, one call got it done. Whether it's lending, deposits, or treasury management, they deliver fast. Signature Bank made us feel like family. That's a partnership we deeply appreciate.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you a small business with just a couple of computers? Or maybe 50? Then listen up, because your business deserves the same protection and support the big guys get. Small businesses are the backbone of our country, and they're often overlooked. Not with Turnkey. We're entirely focused on the small business community. For 30 years, our multi-generational family-run IT company has been the trusted technical partner for small businesses just like yours. We're not some giant monolithic faceless corporation. We're local, we're personal, and we're passionate about helping small businesses thrive. From advanced backup, antivirus, and anti-ransomware to help desk support that actually helps, we've got your back. And right now, we're offering new customers a powerful firewall router, a local and cloud backup device, plus your first month of service absolutely free. Because at our core, we believe small businesses deserve big protection. At Turnkey, we're champions of small business. So visit us at turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
Americans everywhere are on edge. The government shutdown has dragged on, and every day that passes, the markets grow more uncertain. When anxiety grips Wall Street, the first thing that takes the hit is your retirement savings, your IRA, your 401k. Everything you've worked for can suffer a loss of value virtually overnight. And now, with the Fed preparing another rate cut, precious metals are poised for dramatic gains in the coming weeks. That's why so many Americans are calling Advantage Gold at 800-741-GOLD to learn how to roll over a portion of their retirement funds into physical gold and silver. When paper assets crumble under government dysfunction and global tension, precious metals stand firm. Don't wait for the next market shock to erase what you've saved. Call Advantage Gold at 800-741-GOLD. Get your free gold kit now. It'll show you exactly how to secure your IRA or 401k with tangible assets. Call 800-741-4653 now. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-741-GOLD.
This hourly segment is sponsored by Protecting Your Assets with Steve Shyman. Listen Saturday mornings at 8. Learn more at willsave.com.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. Inbound on the Eden from Lake Cook to Montrose is 15 minutes. Outbound a little bit slow at 25. The Kennedy, inbound from O'Hare to the Burn Interchange, 45 minutes. Outbound is 40. The Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office is 55 minutes. Outbound is 24, and watch out for a crash taking out the left lane at Oak Park Avenue. The inbound Stevenson from Tri-State to Lakeshore is 40. Outbound is 21. The Dan Ryan from 95th to the Burn Interchange is 35. Not too bad on the outbound side at 13. This report is sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today will be partly sunny and pleasant with a high of 62. Expect gusty winds that may move unsecured objects and decorations. Tonight will be clear and breezy with a low of 50. Tomorrow brings partly sunny skies, breezy conditions, and pleasant weather with a high of 59. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Time now for another reason why Dan Proft is single.
Yeah. Let's wind it down a little bit here. In the infamous words of Rocky Balboa,
If I can change,
Я думаю, что каждый тоже изменился
and
сегодня.
you can change.
Вы можете измениться.
Everybody could change. We could all change. I preferred in the original Russian myself. But is that really true? Can men change? That's a question that some childless cat lady, I'm assuming, is going around New York asking in anonymous man on the street interviews. Going under the handle Close Friend Jack, J-A-K, on TikTok. These man on the street videos have, of course, exploded because she's asking older ladies if men ever change, given their lived experience, so she can calibrate her expectations appropriately or give up altogether. I'm not sure which. So the question to you is, Rocky Balboa right, or will men never change? As also, do you accept the premise that that's necessarily a bad thing? I do not. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line. I guess it varies from man to man, too. I hate talking about people who have a shared characteristic as, monolithically the same. We just talked about that earlier in the program. It's a bit silly. Well, that's why these man on the street interviews are a bit silly.
Sorry, I saw you guys. I had to ask a question. Do men ever change? No? Never? Ever. They don't grow like they say they will?
They never do what they say they want to do.
Thank you for clarifying. Okay.
Can't trust them.
Thank you.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line if you're a man who fits any of these descriptions.
Excuse me, this is random. Do men ever change?
Do what?
Men ever change?
Not really.
Not really?
No.
Never.
That's what my mother would.
Your mother would say it, and is it what you've experienced?
Yeah.
The girlies are losing hope, and that's fine. Like, accept it.
Like the things that you don't like, you just have to either compromise on and realize that, like, no guys are perfect. So
Yeah.
are you willing to sacrifice?
Were you looking around because we don't want to offend him?
No guys are perfect.
Yeah.
So what are you willing
to compromise on? And it's a compromise. Don't hold out hope for change.
That's same things.
There is a pattern.
That is the pattern.
Yes.
This many years later, like, why don't we travel more? Because he can't do it. And like, if I have too much going on, raising two kids and doing this, and
Yeah.
like, it's crazy. Right?
If there's a pattern, like, accept the characteristic attribute that's driving that. Make peace
It's
with
really
it.
hard for anyone to change, and like the older they get, for sure not. But it's like inherently not who you. But like not in a bad way, because what you could find would be worse.
Nothing's guaranteed. It's hard. I find a lot of women try to predict, right? They're like predicting the train. Is it going to happen? Is it not?
Some things should be easy.
Yes.
Because life does get so complicated.
Mhm.
And if you can't get through the easy things together, everything else then becomes so much harder, right? Like,
Get through the easy things with ease. When it comes to the harder things, find what you're willing to compromise on. You're amazing. Thank you so much.
I don't know if that was like a little bit of good therapy.
One of my deal breakers is conversations about change like that. I lost consciousness momentarily, and that was only 2 minutes.
You look wise. Can I ask you a question? Yeah. Do men ever change? I'm not kidding.
No, they don't.
They don't?
But there's good ones, but they're usually gay and are married. Get them
Before they turn gay.
Yeah, they're good ones, but they're usually gay, dead, or married. So you have to either dig them up or get them before they're gay or married, I guess. I mean, obviously it's a loaded question. I mean, what woman is going to say, of course they do, and, and be so any time on this planet carrying around all the baggage that these older women are carrying around, because, again, younger women asking older women about their lived experience, and the question, do men ever change in a positive way? How about men changing in a bad way? That's never contemplated. It's always they start bad and then the women are going to change them into being a better person. And does that really ever happen? That's the premise you have to accept. You get this pile of clay, and then you have to mold it into an actual human, three-dimensional human being. And is that possible? Or is it just this mold of clay that you decided to hook up with, I suppose.
Excuse me? I have a question. Do men ever change?
Men ever change?
Yeah, do they ever grow like they say they will?
Never.
Never. Thank you for clarifying.
What man says, I'm going to grow? I think you've watched too many Hollywood rom-coms. Like men, at least heterosexual men, don't talk like that. And to the extent they do in the context of having to indulge one of these insufferable conversations about change, they're giving you the lingo that you want to hear. I want to grow. Greg in LaGrange.
Hey, good morning, Dan. I mean, this is ridiculous.
That's what the culture. That's what the culture begets, Greg. I'm just here to report.
You actually enter in a relationship with a guy and you expect him to change right away, or you want to mold him into change. You know what I think this is, Dan? I think it's our devolving society where women are looking at men and hoping that they become feminized, like we've been talking about over the last 10 years. They're looking for the feminization of men. They want men to become less men, testosterone bound, and more feminine, weepy, indecisive, malleable, and easy to manipulate. Well, it ain't going to happen. It's ridiculous.
Thanks for the call, Greg. It also starts from the premise, very Obama-esque, change. Change is value neutral. It can be good change or bad change. I was married for 20 years. 15 were very happy, and he changed, and the last 5 years he hooked up with a secretary and then left me for her. That's change. See, men can change. And I mean, that can happen the other way, too. So, be very specific about the changes you're looking for. Change is always positive. No, not. Jay and Joliet.
Hey, Dan, still single here. Still awesome. But anyways, I wanted to bring up the fact that there's only two type of women that really exist. They're the women who want to be taken care of, and they're women who want to take care of men. And it's just whatever category that man that they're looking for falls into. So according to this girl, what she's saying is more along the lines of the concept that she wants to know if some man can take care of her. Other women are usually like, I want a broken man, so I got something to do with. Me, I'm still single. Well, single, still awesome. Gonna love it. I don't want any of that.
Boy, the joy in your voice gives me hope. Thanks for the call, Jay. It sounded like he was clicking his heels while he was talking to us. Deborah in Arlington Heights.
Hi, Dan. First of all, I don't even know how you can hear anything. I can't get past the upspeak. It's so annoying.
Yes.
And I'll tell you who can change people is God can change people. God can change people. That too.
That's true. No question about that. Thanks for the call, Deborah. Matt, Southside.
Hey, good morning, Dan. Yeah, I just wanted to say that when I met my wife, I told her I was going to grow too, but I wasn't talking about my personality.
Okay. Belly. Tim in Naperville.
Yeah, Dan, a long time ago, my dad told me there's two fallacies that men and women have. Women think that they can change men, and men think that the appearance of a woman will never change, and both are severely disappointed. That's all.
Yeah. Miles in the Western Burbs.
Hey, Dan, this lady needs to figure out why the church considers marriage a vocation. It takes work, for God's sake.
Thanks for the call, Miles. Yeah, right. You don't just get to pluck one off the shelf and it's like Neo or an Optimus. I'm just going to get one of those. I have a feeling those are going to be, when they get perfected in terms of those household skills that they possess, I think those are, and the price point comes down a little bit, I think those are going to be wildly successful. Is it Linnea in Skokie?
It's Linnea.
Linnea. Oh, okay.
I think the question assumes that men are the only ones who need to change. I think in any happy, healthy marriage, it's both of them change together.
Yes, starting with the diapers, right?
That's part of it, yeah.
Thanks for the call, Linnea. All right. We'll end on that happy note from the distaff side. Dan Proft, Chicago's Morning Answer.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Welcome to another edition of Tuesdays with Tim, where we talk all things retirement. I'm here with my friend Tim Stearns, a certified financial planner with TJ Stearns Financial Planning in Arlington Heights. Tim, what are the biggest expenses listeners will face in retirement? And please explain the process you take to address these expenses.
Well, Dan, most people think it's healthcare, and it is one of them. But the number one expense in retirement is actually taxes, and that needs to be addressed. Most people have put their money year after year in their tax-deferred accounts like 401ks and IRAs, and they have basically deferred their taxes for a long time. But they've created a tax time bomb, and they don't know it. And that's why we offer the Tax Impact Report.
Tim, so many of us lack a retirement tax plan. For your clients and customers, how do you help map out a tax plan in retirement?
Well, we start with a Tax Impact Report. Most people know how much money they saved for retirement, but they have no idea how much they'll be paying in taxes throughout their retirement. We will run them a report that shows if they default to the IRS's plan, what they will pay in taxes, or they can get ahead of it and mitigate those taxes by being proactive in their tax planning rather than reactive.
Tim, you advertise a complimentary risk assessment report of our listeners' portfolio. Explain what that is, what it reveals, and how AM 560 listeners can sign up for this report.
Dan, we found that many of our listeners do not understand how much risk they have in their underlying portfolio. The strong stock market has made investors lackadaisical in their approach to risk in their hard-earned portfolios. We can ascertain how much risk is actually in their portfolio, and most importantly, show them tools that can help mitigate that risk.
Thank you, Tim. If you're in your 50s or 60s, I want you to speak with my friend Tim Stearns. Tim will help you structure and optimize your savings to prepare for 20 to 30 years of enjoyable retirement. Call Tim today to schedule your free consultation and get your free risk report. That's 1-800-640-2256. Again, that's 800-640-2256. Tell them I sent you when you call 800-640-2256. One more. Text from 815, the women looking for men to change. They want to be more specific. Bruce Jenner changed. Yes, well, there's change too. As I said, change is a dangerous word, lacking specificity. Let me tell you about a proud new sponsor of Chicago's Morning Answer, Access One IT Services and Support. Chicago business owners, listen up. Your phone, internet, and IT should work well 24/7. But when it doesn't, who are you calling? An overseas help desk? Don't do that. If you want clear, reliable local experts, consider Chicago's best, Access One. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for more than 30 years from their headquarters in the West Loop. Whether it's voice over IP phones, dedicated internet, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One has you covered. Access One is a Chicago-owned, Chicago-run business that serves thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore and everywhere in between. They're rated top 5% in customer satisfaction and trusted by law firms, clinics, tech startups, manufacturers, and businesses in every sector. If you're in a business, make sure your IT works well every day. Start a conversation about your business needs today by calling Access One at 1-800-654-1555. That's 1-800-654-1555. Or online at accessoneinc.com. That's Access One, the number spelled out, O-N-E, accessoneinc.com, and tell them Dan Proft and AM 560 sent you.
It's Dr. David Goldbaba.
Hey guys, it's not enough to manipulate your testosterone by getting those shots. Did you ever stop to ask, why is my testosterone level so low anyway? Well, if you're a Y guy like me, I've got something for you to think about. Hormone levels get skewed not with age. Hormones get skewed by poor lifestyle habits. Our male hormone test can help us find the why behind your male hormone challenges. So give us a call and get your male hormone test today. Pumping hormones into your bloodstream is not the answer, not without the many health risks associated. Stop tampering with your hormones, because if you don't, you'll probably live long enough to regret it. So from one Y guy to another Y guy, let's get her done the right way, the only way, taking more natural steps towards healthy hormone balance and performance today. It's our male hormone test. No blood, just spit. Call 800-794-1855. That's 800-794-1855. It's Health Quest Radio with me, Dr. David Kolbaba, this Saturday morning at 11.
This is Dennis Prager for AmFed Coin and Bullion. There's something about the feel of a gold coin in your hand and the way the light reflects off its intricate details that has always captivated me. Nick Grovich, AmFed's owner, turned that same passion into his livelihood. Nick began collecting coins as a teen, and that interest grew into a nationally respected business offering only the finest quality coins at the most competitive prices. But the truth is that although Nick is a rare coin dealer, he doesn't believe in rare coins. Rare coins do not make sound investments, but they do make dealers a lot of money. See, that's part of what I respect about him. AmFed specializes in buying non-performing numismatic coins and turning them into gold or silver investments that provide liquidity and perform competitively against the market. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com.
Chicago businesses, you can't afford to be down. You don't have time to wait for IT support. You need one company that does IT well and does it right. Meet Access One, your local Chicagoland IT experts. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for over 30 years from our headquarters right here in the West Loop. Whether it's VoIP phones, dedicated internet, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One is here for you. Chicago owned, Chicago run, and serving thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore. Access One is the trusted IT partner for law firms, clinics, tech startups, to manufacturers. Rated top 5% in customer satisfaction and a Better Business Bureau A+ rated business. Access One is your one vendor for everything tech. Let's talk. Call 800-654-1555 or visit accessoneInc.com. That's accessoneInc.com. Tech made personal, locally.
AM 560, The Answer.
As the schedule gets tougher, we're not going to be able to enjoy happy musical stylings from Dave Swirsky, so we better enjoy them while we can. And he put together a little medley to celebrate the Bears' victory over the Bengals, which bared a striking resemblance to a Mountain West Conference game. I thought I was watching San Diego State against San Jose State. But anyway, they got it done. And here's Dave Swirsky's celebratory medley.
Gave us 12 heart attacks, but somehow the Bears got it done. The Bears won again. Our guy Manungai had us saying, oh my, 'cause he's a super tough guy. Now our hopes are sky high. 7th round type, make defenders mistype. Get Bengals fans set tight, carry the team that type. Come on, guy. The Bears. But the Bears couldn't stop Flacco. Had us going psycho. And then dead onside kick. Almost lost my whole mind. TD thrown by Flacco. They took the lead, oh no. And time was running out, but then appeared a hero. Colston Loveland broke a tackle, found spacing. We escaped disaster. A last second TD. Save this game, baby. Loveland attack. The Bears are back. Loveland attack. The Bears. And when they win like this, they got us thinking playoff run. Hey, this winning thing is sure is fun. The Bears won again.
Using Love Shack for Colton Loveland is very good. He's very good. It's fun. It is fun, even whether you like the Bears or not. I know there are Packers and probably some Colts fan listening too. Anyway, managed to get by Joe Flacco. Doesn't portend too well. Thanks for joining us on another edition of Chicago's Morning Answer. Back tomorrow with more. We're going to continue to delve into this AI revolution that's going on. We're going to do more interviews on those topics that we covered today. It is now 9 o'clock on AM 560 WIND.
The nation mourns the death of a former VP. I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News. Former Vice President Dick Cheney has died at the age of 84 due to complications of pneumonia and cardiac and vascular